Tonight on News Channel 4 at 11.
This year, Unsolved Mysteries will be more exciting than ever. You'll flip.
New Unsolved Mysteries, Friday, October 20th.
Sky Dome, it's baseball night in America. Tonight, the New York Yankees and Toronto Blue Jays. And hi again, everyone. Jim Hunter with Buck Martinez. Glad you could be with us tonight in what could be the beginnings of a very big weekend for the New York Yankees. As play begins tonight, the Yankees hold a one-game lead on the California Angels for the wild card berth and a playoff spot in the American League. And Buck, you know, maybe it's fitting that the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays coming down to the wire. It was 10 years ago, 1985. The Yankees came into Toronto. Chance to win the AL East, but the Jays escaped with their first division title.
Well, Jim, the Yankees came in here 3 back. They had to win all 3 ball games, and on Friday night, the Blue Jays looked like they were going to wrap up their first division title. Cliff Johnson hits a ground ball to shortstop, and Lloyd Moseby is coming around third base. The throw from the shortstop is high of the mark. Moseby slides across with the 3rd run. Then, in the top of the 9th, Henke trying to wrap it up. To Butch Weininger, gets a high fastball out over the plate. Weininger tied up the game for New York in the 9th inning, and they went on in extra innings to win that ball game. So the Blue Jays celebration had to be put on hold for 1 day.
Now, as far as 1995, with 3 games to play, if the Yankees were looking to wrap up against anybody, they're probably happy it's against the Jays, because New York so far this year is 9-1 against Toronto, including 9 consecutive wins.
Well, Jim, the Yankee hitters have just worn out the Blue Jays. They're hitting .315 as a team against Toronto. What Guzman has to do here tonight is pitch ahead. There are so many veteran hitters in this lineup that he can ill afford to fall behind and come in with that good fastball. He's got to pitch ahead, and he's got to be aggressive.
Now, the Yankees have a 3-hour start on the Angels. Any edge there?
Yeah, I think the Yankees want to play and put a number up so the Angels can watch it.
The pitching matchup tonight, the left-hander Andy Pettitte for the Yankees, the right-hander Juan Guzman for the Jays. Right now, let's go to the studio and join Hannah Storm.
Everybody, I'm Hannah Storm. Welcome to Baseball Night in America, brought to you by Toyota. Down to the final weekend of the season, and 2 teams still in the playoff hunt, the Astros and the Cubs, took it to extra innings this afternoon. A bases-loaded walk in the bottom of the 9th capped a 3-run rally for the Cubs, and then in the 10th, this Luis Gonzalez single scored Mark Grace for the game-winning run. The Cubs' 4-3 victory kept Chicago's slim wild-card hopes alive. They move within 2.5 games of the Rockies. Meanwhile, the Astros fall to a 1.5 games out. Los Angeles leads Colorado by 1 game in the National League West. And 3 teams remain alive for the final 2 playoff spots in the American League. Ken Griffey's grand slam last night lowered Seattle's magic number to clinch the American League West to 2. The Mariners are in Texas again tonight. The Yankees are in Toronto with a 1-game lead over California for the wild card spot. And the Angels play later on at home against the A's. Another story will follow for you tonight. Albert Bell's bid to join the exclusive 50 home run club. We'll send you out to the ballparks after this from your local station.
Hey, American Sue. Tonight on News Channel 4 at 11.
And back at Sky Dome in Toronto, there's the 28-year-old right-hander Juan Guzman, who has been struggling, but he gets the start tonight against the Yankees. And here is tonight's Budweiser Yankees starting lineup. Deion James will lead off and play left field. Bernie Williams in center field batting second. Paul O'Neill in right field bats third. Ruben Sierra, the DH, will bat cleanup. Don Mattingly at first base batting fifth. Jim Leyritz will catch and bat sixth. Randy Velarde at third base will bat seventh. Tony Fernandez at shortstop batting eighth. And Pat Kelly at second base will bat ninth. James getting the start in left field tonight. The left-handed bat against the right-hander Guzman. And the first pitch a fastball for a strike.
Last time the Yankees saw Juan Guzman, they scored 5 runs in the second inning on just 2 hits. The Jays walked in 2 in that inning.
And it's low and in, a ball and a strike on Deion James. Guzman overall, really, Buck, this has been a 2-year occurrence for him, a 2-year slide. You see, he's at 4 and 14 on this year. And he won last Sunday against the Red Sox, which snapped a 9-game losing streak. One of those losses, the game you talked about at New York.
Once again, he has fallen behind Deion James, the leadoff hitter, and this is something he's going to have to avoid if he hopes to beat New York here tonight. It's a very patient hitting ball club.
2-1 pitch is fouled back. It's 2-2 on Deion James.
When the Yankees saw Guzman in New York last week, all of the hitters talked about the fact that he was throwing about 5 miles an hour slower when he got the ball in the strike zone. Buck Showalter knows that Guzman, when he's got his good stuff, can beat anybody. But he has had trouble finding the strike zone on a consistent basis.
And the 2-2 is just off the plate. And Deion James, very patient, works the count full, leading off the first. Well, Guzman has that big breaking slider, which is obviously much more effective if the fastball is getting by the hitters. And the payoff pitch is looped to center field. Mike Huff coming on, and he makes the catch to retire James for the first out.
Well, Mike Huff is in center field because Devon White's out for the year with a broken foot. It's Carter Huff and Robert Perez in the outfield. Tomas Perez starts at second base. Robbie Alomar's got a bad back. He can't hit against left-handed pitchers. Randy Knorr is behind the plate, and the Blue Jays catchers have allowed 29 pass balls. That only trails Boston and Milwaukee, and that's really important here tonight because the Yankees don't have much base-stealing speed, and they'll take advantage of those pass balls and wild pitches.
So 1 out for Bernie Williams, the hot-hitting center fielder at .304, 18 home runs and 82 RBIs. And a strike by Guzman, 0-1. Bernie's had a very busy week. He flew home to Puerto Rico on the off day for New York on Monday to see his brand new baby girl. It had been about 2 weeks since the birth of his daughter, and he finally got home, and then on Tuesday missed his flight back and got to Milwaukee late, where the Yankees were already underway, but he got in the game and the Yankees won anyway. 1-1 the count on Williams. 1 out, nobody on. We're in the first at Toronto. This has certainly been a breakthrough season for Bernie Williams. And the fastball high, it's 2-1. They've been waiting for Bernie to put it together where he was the complete player, and this year he certainly has done that.
Well, he stepped up every level of his game. His defensive play is much improved. His hitting, of course, is very positive.
And low and in, and it's 3-1. So 3 balls to each of the first 2 batters for Guzman.
Buck Showalter is really pleased with the way Bernie Williams has come around as a hitter. He's been able to put him in the 2 spot, and when Wade Boggs and Bernie Williams were moved into the 1 and 2 spots in the lineup after Louis Polonia was traded away, this club really caught fire.
Bernie is switch hitter. 3 switch hitters in Buck Showalter's lineup tonight against the right-hander Guzman. And the 3-1 ground ball. There's a base hit to right field as it bounces past Tomas Perez, who's at second base tonight in place of Robbie Alomar. So Bernie keeps his hot hitting going, and the Yankees have a base runner in the first. Now Bernie is as fast as any runner on the Yankees, but for whatever reason, Buck, he still hasn't mastered the art of stealing bases. Just 8 on the year.
Well, he hasn't been able to really develop a good technique at first base for stealing bases. The Yankees don't have a base stealer in double figures.
And they are dead last in the American League as a team with just 50. Here's Paul O'Neill. Guzman to first. Now with Guzman struggling overall, will he tend to go away from his slider more with runners on base, or does he still have confidence in the pitch to throw it with men on?
Well, he'll throw it anytime. He's got a lot of confidence in that slider, and when he throws it properly, he'll get a lot of strikeouts with it. All of the Yankee hitters are very aware that it's a slider that breaks almost straight down. The spin is so tight, it's very difficult for them to pick up the fact that it's a breaking ball.
It almost looks like a good breaking forkball, the action that it has. And again, a play to first. Bernie back.
This is one thing that Cito Gaston doesn't want to see from Guzman, is a lot of focus on the base runner. He would much rather see him really focused in on the hitter.
A dangerous hitter at the plate in Paul O'Neill. And again, that's 3 throws to first.
One thing that always happens when Guzman takes a lot of time is his infielders have a tendency to get back on their heels. He throws a lot of balls and takes a lot of time in between pitches.
And the 1-0, swing and a miss at a good fastball, a ball and a strike on O'Neill.
Well, Cito Gaston, his club's going to finish in the basement in the American League East, and he still feels that he's got guys out there with a lot of pride, and they want to make sure that they're not an easy mark for the Yankees here in this 3-game weekend series.
You see the defense for Paul O'Neill. He is a good opposite field hitter, yet the center fielder, Mike Huff, is shaded towards the gap in right center. So a lot of room out there for Paul O'Neill. And again, a throw to first, and Bernie back in. In fact, when Paul O'Neill, Buck, was with the Cincinnati Reds, a majority of his home runs would go out to left center field. The 1-1 pitch is fouled back, and that made that trade somewhat curious initially from the Yankees standpoint because of all the room in left center field at Yankee Stadium. But he has shown that he can pull the ball for power and has developed into a solid and consistent power hitter pulling the ball.
Well, he has made the adjustment dramatically to take advantage of that short porch in Yankee Stadium. What he has to do is make sure he lays off that high fastball from Guzman. O'Neill's strength is down.
Bernie extends his lead at first. He has 1 foot on the carpet and draws a throw. Well, Bernie Williams has that move of Juan Guzman figured out. He hasn't been close. O'Neill at the plate with a count of 1-2, and 1 man out in the first. No score at the Dome. And you see how well O'Neill hits against right-handed pitching. Fastball is high, and it's 2-2. And Randy Knorr out to the mound to talk it over with Juan Guzman. Mentioned the troubles of Juan Guzman in the last 2 years. Last year his record was 12-11, his ERA at 5.68. This year the right-hander has stumbled to 4-14, and his ERA, well, he likes his uniform number, which is 66, because his ERA coming in is 6.66, which is about 3 runs higher than you'd like it as a starter. Bouncer to the right side. Perez will go to second for 1. No return on a nice slide by Bernie Williams, and the slow roller, I'm not sure they would have 2 anyway, but Williams with good hustle as he upends Alex Gonzalez at second base.
Well, it's a key play because they erase that lead runner and keep him off of second base scoring position. Tomas Perez playing at second base just for the 2nd time this year. Goes to his left, turns, and makes a good strong throw to Gonzalez for the force out. Bernie Williams is all over the shortstop. He doesn't want him even the chance to throw to first base.
And there's Bernie, and will allow the cleanup batter Ruben Sierra to bat in the first with a man on. Sierra, another switch hitter, batting from the left side against Guzman. And the pitch in, 1-0. Ruben is batting at .264 on the year with 19 home runs and 83 RBIs. He has been seeing the majority of the playing time as of late, with Darryl Strawberry on the bench. Two 2-0 on Sierra. You know, one of the things with Buck Showalter in this lineup he actually has too many candidates for DH and not enough good gloves to put in the outfield.
Yeah, left field has really been a troublesome spot for him. They tried Darryl Strawberry there initially and found out that he couldn't handle a job. That's why Deion James is starting on the left.
Ooh, he had a fastball there, came up empty, 2-1. Sierra still is a very good guess hitter. When he knows the pitch is coming, if it's there in his zone, he can really send it.
Well, he had a huge 3-run home run against the Blue Jays in New York off Paul Menhart. It was a down. He has not fared well against Guzman because Juan's got that good high fastball that can give Ruben some problems. Right there.
And again, a good fastball. It's 2-2.
As long as he keeps it up there, he shouldn't have any problem with Sierra. But if Ruben gets that ball down and out over the plate a bit, he'll hit it 9 miles.
And then let you know he did. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs in the first. Paul O'Neill, the base runner. And that's high and away, and this gives the Yankees a break. Paul O'Neill not very fast, and on the 3-2 pitch with 2 outs, he'll be moving. So a ball hit towards the gap might enable O'Neill to get around and score. They're playing Sierra basically the same way they played O'Neill, a lot of room in left center. There goes O'Neill, and a high pop-up right side playable for Perez on the broken bat, and he'll make the catch. The Yankees go down in the first. A base hit, a man left, nothing across. The Yankees nothing. The Blue Jays are coming up. 23-year-old rookie left-hander Andy Pettitte in a big start tonight for New York. And here is tonight's Budweiser Blue Jays starting lineup. Alex Gonzalez, the shortstop, leading off. Paul Molitor batting second, the DH. Joe Carter in left field bats third. John Olerud at first base batting cleanup. Ed Sprague at third base bats fifth. Mike Huff in center field batting sixth. Robert Perez in right field bats seventh. Randy Knorr catches bats eighth. And Tomas Perez at second base batting ninth. And you see the Jays having troubles scoring runs. In fact, they haven't scored a run since last Sunday at Boston when they beat the Red Sox 2-1 and picked up a run in the ninth inning. It's been a tough week.
Last time they saw Andy Pettitte, they had their hands full too. Pettitte beat them 5-3 in New York with 8 solid innings of 5-hit pitching.
So here's the shortstop Gonzalez against Pettitte, and Pettitte ahead with a strike. You know, we saw the numbers there, Buck, of the strikeout and walks of Andy Pettitte. You see the numbers for Gonzalez: 10 home runs and 42 RBIs. And there's a looper towards center field. Going back is Fernandez, and the shortstop makes the catch. One man down. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Lexus Luxury Automobiles, the result of a relentless pursuit of perfection. Network MCI, how to get modern communications technology working for your business. And Goodyear, #1 in tires. So Gonzalez retired, one man down, and here's Paul Molitor, the DH. Molitor having a subpar year by his high standards at .260, 15 home runs and 59 RBIs, and actually was moved in the lineup from number 3 to number 2. Started to mention the numbers of Andy Pettitte, and what you like to see is, for a young pitcher especially, his walks to strikeout ratio. He's striking out almost 6 per 9 innings and walking just over 3. So for a young pitcher still learning his way through major league lineups, that's a pretty good percentage.
Well, he's got some great guys around him to learn from.
What a high pop foul down the field line. That's back in the crowd. 2-1 the count. There's Nardi Contreras, the Yankees pitching coach, and he's done a good job since taking over for New York.
Well, he's done a nice job with Pettitte, but Pettitte has been influenced by watching Jack McDowell, David Cohen, and being around Jimmy Key. Those guys go about their business in a very professional manner, and Andy Pettitte, for a rookie, has got an awful lot of composure. He has really pitched well down the stretch, winning 5 out of his last 6 starts.
3-1 to Molitor, fouled off his foot. And the count goes full at 3-2. And there's Jimmy Key just to the left of Wade Boggs with the towel. Jimmy has been traveling with the team. You see Jack McDowell to the left of Boggs, the right of your screen. There's Jack.
McDowell is scheduled to start tomorrow, but it's still somewhat up in the air. According to Buck Showalter, if the Yankees are tied in the wild card race, McDowell will get to start. If they've got a game lead, he will put him down again. He needs the rest.
Andy Pettitte out of Deer Park, Texas. And Molitor hanging tough. He fouls it back. 3-2 the count on Paul. One man out, nobody on, bottom of the first. You know, Buck Showalter not only has to work towards clinching the wild card, or for their sake hopefully clinching, but he does have to think about next week as well. And a hard foul past Nick Leyva, the third base coach. So he actually has thoughts. Well, what if, with one eye on next Tuesday.
Yeah, he's got a lot of thoughts right now. A lot of options. Right now, Andy Pettitte just can't figure out where to go to get Paul Molitor out.
One thing is certain, though, if Sunday means anything in going to the postseason, David Cohn will pitch. Because you have to make sure you get there before you worry about it the next game. And if it does come down to Sunday, they'll want him on the mound. A swing and a miss. It gets away from Larritz. This will be close and not in time. And backing up the second baseman, Kelly. So Pettitte throws an excellent pitch. Molitor swings and misses, but it gets away from Larritz. And the Jays get a break in the first and a one-out base runner.
That ball really had a lot of movement on it. Kind of handcuffed Larritz. Wants the ball down. You see how he got his glove backwards. He should have turned it over and taken it with the pocket facing up. It gets away from him far enough away to allow Paul Molitor to reach first base. I believe that could be scored a pass ball. He had a shot at that ball.
Pettit will work from the stretch for the first time tonight, and here's the left fielder Joe Carter, who's back in the lineup after a couple of days nursing a sore back. And a line drive to left that's hanging up for Deion James, who makes a sliding catch. Looked like he lost that ball, Buck, momentarily, but he makes the catch and 2 men are down.
I think he got fooled by the fact that Carter got hit down by the label. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense. Yankees are second in the league to Baltimore. James Williams and O'Neill in the outfield. Tony Fernandez makes his first start in 11 days. He suffered a strained knee when he was running down the first baseline, slipped on the bag and hyperextended his knee. Said he's not quite 100% yet, but he's good enough to go here tonight.
So 2 outs in Olerud. They have ruled it a wild pitch, allowing Molitor to reach first. Swing and a miss by John Olerud, 0-1.
I'm not sure I agree with that, and I'm an old catcher.
Why am I surprised you thought of it today? On Olerud. There's the move to first by Andy Pettit, and you'd have to say he has mastered the balk move to first base.
Well, he's got a great move. He's picked off 10 base runners right already this year. Word spreads quickly that Pettit really shuts down the running game.
And the fastball hits the inside corner. Nice pitch. It's 0-2. Molitor is an excellent base runner. He has 12 out of 12 in stolen base attempts this year. He was perfect last year as well, so his streak continues. And the 0-2 is bounced to second. Playable there for Pat Kelly. He goes to first, and the Jays retire. We're going to the second. No score in Toronto.
Saturday on Jag. The action continues. A high-tech pirate, a killer torpedo,
Who the hell is this guy?
and a deadly countdown.
300 yards and closing.
Thousands of lives are at stake.
Collision alarm.
All new Jag, 8/7 Central, NBC Saturday.
At the Sky Dome, Jim Hunter with Buck Martinez. Top of the second on Baseball Night in America. No score. Don Mattingly leading off for New York. In the top of the second, Mattingly took a strike on the first pitch from Juan Guzman. And the 0-1 is swung on and missed. It's 0-2. Mattingly will be followed by Jim Larritz and Randy Velarde in the New York second. With a big number there, 6 home runs for Don Mattingly.
Yeah, he just doesn't have that same torque that he had in his heyday in the mid-'80s. His back problem has sapped him of all that power.
Guzman ahead at 0-2 and a foul off the foot of Mattingly.
In this at-bat, Guzman has used all 3 of his pitches, and he's been very effective. He got ahead with a fastball through the changeup Mattingly was out in front of, and there Don had to chase that nasty slide, probably low out of the strike zone. So now he can go back upstairs with a high fastball and maybe get a pop-up strikeout.
And the 0-2 is fouled off left side. Mattingly tonight is playing in his 1,783rd game in his big league career and has yet to see one postseason game. So with 3 games to go, he's hoping to end his career drought. And a pop foul back of third that should make the stands. And it bounces in the photographer's booth. Randy Knorr gave it a good effort, but he ran out of room. The Yankees haven't been in postseason play since 1981. Don Mattingly was in Double-A ball that year at Nashville.
Rooming with Buck Showalter.
How's that? 0-2, Mattingly leading off the second. On a high fly to right field, Perez got a late start, but coming in, and he'll make the catch, 1 man down. Now the Saturday action is on NBC with NBC's new hit Jag starting at 8/7 Central. Then get ready for comedy with the season premiere of The John Larroquette Show, followed by the series premiere of Home Court starring Pamela Reed. That's tomorrow, NBC Saturday. Here's Jim Leyritz with one out, nobody on. Leyritz catching tonight. See his unusual stance from the right side, and he swings and misses. 0-1.
Leyritz has become Andy Pettit's personal catcher. He's caught his last 6 starts, and as we mentioned, Pettit's 5-1 in those last 6 games.
And he's missing again, and it's 1-2.
What a difference for Juan Guzman when he pitches ahead. The Yankees have to expand their strike zone. They're trying to catch up to that high fastball, and it's tough to do.
See Leyritz far from the plate and deep in the box, and he likes to dive into the pitch. Constant movement awaiting the pitch of Juan Guzman. High for a ball. Leyritz now in his 6th big league season at 31 years old. Was not drafted. He signed as a free agent with the Yanks back in '85. And Guzman even now at 2-2.
Leyritz is one of those guys that if you see play a day or two, you don't really get that impressed by him. He doesn't have great skills, but over the long haul, he can do a lot of things for you.
And there's a base hit to center field for Leyritz. Second base hit for New York as Huff plays back in. And for the 2nd inning in a row, after an out, the Yankees have a base runner.
Guzman went with the slider and got it up a bit. You see it just kind of spins out over the plate, and Leyritz with 2 strikes cut his stroke down and singles in the center.
So Leyritz on at first, and here is Randy Velarde, Mr. Utility for Buck Showalter, having a fine year with the bat, and that has kept him in the lineup, regardless of where he plays on defense. Leyritz back in standing. Velarde's in there at 3rd base tonight, but he's played shortstop, he's played 2nd base, and he's played in the outfield. Guzman hoping for a ground ball here and a chance to turn 2. Outside, 1-0 on Velarde. There's Cito Gaston in the Blue Jays dugout. The Blue Jays management has said that Cito definitely will be back next year as their manager, as well as should be. Swing and a foul back, a ball and a strike on Velarde.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was even a story. Cito had a contract for next year, and he has won 4 division championships, 2 World Series, and the big story here on Thursday was the fact that they're going to bring him back. Mr. George Steinbrenner in the white shirt on the left of your screen, Paul Beeson, the president of the Blue Jays, and Pat Gillick on the right, former general manager, now retired. Pretty impressive box right there, isn't it?
George must think something's about to happen. He's been with the team since Milwaukee. In fact, the Yankees have an entourage here of front office executives. Gene Michael is here, Tim McCleary, the assistant general manager, and Reggie Jackson, who was the advisor to Steinbrenner. They're all here on the trip as well. 1-2, the count on Velarde. You think Mr. Beeston is talking about the fact that they're no longer selling out here in Toronto?
Yeah, he's been very concerned about that. They're used to having packed houses of 50,000 every night.
And the 1-2, and he gets him. Good pitch by Guzman. That's his first strikeout, and 2 men out in the 2nd. As Velarde goes back and not very happy that he swung at that pitch.
The encouraging thing for the Blue Jays about Guzman tonight is he's really working quickly, and he's anxious to throw the ball over. From time to time, he becomes very tentative and thinks that he's more of a pitcher than a power pitcher. He needs to center on the heart of the plate and throw the ball for the middle. He's got so much movement that it'll work to the corners.
Well, here's Tony Fernandez, the former Blue Jay, back in the lineup. After sitting it out with that injured knee, and he takes a strike. Fernandez, a switch hitter from the left side at .244 with 5 home runs and 45 RBIs. We talked in the opening about the Jays' first championship in 1985. Tony Fernandez was an important member of that team. A ball and a strike on Tony.
He really solidified the Blue Jays' inner defense when he first joined the ball club back in '84. In '85, he became an everyday player, played 161 ball games, and hit .289. He was a very instrumental part in that first banner, and then came back in '93 to contribute to the World Series banner.
And a looper down the line that's curving foul. And the count to 1-2 on Fernandez. Well, you know, we saw the banners there and the success that this franchise has enjoyed. And it makes you wonder what the people here, and I guess the media I'm speaking about, the Toronto media, what they possibly could be thinking about of any doubt of whether Cito Gaston's job was in jeopardy. As you look at Jimmy Key, who was also a big part of those early Jays championship teams. I mean, all this guy has done is won 994 games since taking over, or in 994 games, he has won 535, which are both highs in the franchise history. Cito has the respect of his players, which nowadays is very, very important.
Well, he sometimes gets criticized because he doesn't do an awful lot. Well, he's had pretty good players, and he hasn't had to do an awful lot.
And a slow bouncer played by Guzman. Took a tricky hop, but he'll flip to first. Fernandez down, and the Yankees down in the second. Going to the bottom of the second. No score. Jays and Yanks from Toronto.
We'll get you back to the Yankees-Blue Jays game in just a moment, but first this update on Albert Bell looking for home run number 50 on the season. This is his first at-bat against Kevin Appier on a 3-0 count. Bell swinging for the fences, pops up to second base. Albert Bell looking to become just the 12th player in Major League history to hit 50 home runs and to do it in just 144 games. Back to Skydome.
All right, Hannah, and Ed Sprague leading off for the Jays as we go to the bottom of the second. Mike Huff and Robert Perez to follow against Andy Pettitte, who actually got 4 outs in the first. Paul Molitor struck out and reached on a wild pitch on strike 3. Ed Sprague is the Blue Jays version of Cal Ripken. Been in there every day this year. He only has about 14 years to go to catch Cal, but he's got a nice start. And the fastball outside on the 0-2, a ball and 2 strikes.
What makes Pettitte so effective is the fact that he can work to both sides of the plate with his fastball. He can sink the fastball down away, he can cut it inside, and he's got a great curveball and a very effective changeup. Leritz thought that curveball was in there.
And the count goes full at 3-2. No score in the second. In a big, big game for New York. And it's high ball 4, and he walks the leadoff man, Ed Sprague. For the record, Sprague tonight is playing in consecutive game 152, which is a nice streak until you start to compare it to the other guy.
About 2,000 games short.
But it's a good start. Here's Mike Huff getting a start tonight. Huff batting at .214 with 28 base hits on the year. And a foul in and out of the glove of Jim Leyritz on 1. You know, Andy Pettitte had a very successful minor league career, so it's not that much of a surprise that he's settling in here at the big league level. In 4 minor league seasons, he was 42-20, used mostly as a starter as he worked his way up through the Yankee system. Inside, ball and a strike on Huff. He was drafted back in 1990, but he didn't sign for nearly a year. He went back to college for a year and finally signed on May 25th of '91 before he would have been eligible to go back in the draft the following month. So began his pro career in '91. And the pitch is low. It's 2-1 on Mike Huff.
As I mentioned, Pettitte has been working exclusively with Jim Leyritz, and he's got a lot of confidence in Leyritz's pitch calling.
The runner goes on the hit and run, and that's a fair ball heading towards the corner. O'Neill will play it off the wall. They're going to send Sprague up. They're going to hold him up. As O'Neill got there, Nick Leyva, the third base coach, was waving him around, and Huff stopped. And now Huff will talk it over with Leyva, and Leyva shaking his hand saying, maybe you help me out there.
Well, with nobody out, they didn't want a chance getting thrown out at the plate. Ed Sprague running first base on the hit and run by Mike Huff. Pitches down and away from him. He does a great job of putting that ball down the right field line. Paul O'Neill plays the ball off the wall. Here's Eddie Sprague coming around third base. Sees the stop sign from Nick Laban, puts the brakes on. Nobody out, you don't risk being thrown out at the plate.
And Robert Perez has a chance to get the Jays on top in the second. Perez playing right field tonight. And the fastball by Pettit is high. Perez is 8 out of 43 as a batter this year since coming up. One of the prospects that Cito Gaston is getting a look at. Foul back, ball and right.
Oh, Robert Perez, a very good hitter. He had 343 in the International League, and the Columbus AAA club for the Yankees got a good look at Perez all year long. They know that he is not a powerful hitter, but he'll use the entire field. So thinking of that, the defensive alignment for New York reflects their thoughts. Straight away on the infield, straight away in the outfield.
Inside. The 1-1 is high, and it's 2-1. And Robert Perez at the plate, even though he is young in major league experience, since he is a rookie, he has been around pro ball 7 years. He's 26 years old. And because of the talent the Jays have had in their outfield, he hasn't been able to crack the major league roster. And a foul back, and the count evens up at 2-2. Something the Blue Jays, Buck, have always had a lot of depth of, and that's good outfielders. You know, it seems that they trade one away for maybe they need help in another position, but there's always somebody coming up behind them. They have a lot of depth in the outfield positions. And the 2-2 slow ground ball to short. The run will score. Fernandez will play to first to get Perez. Ground out but an RBI, and the Jays take a 1-0 lead as Ed Sprague crosses the plate. And there you go. They didn't run themselves into an out, and on the ground ball they take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Robert Perez has a real good idea about hitting, and with Sprague at third base, he knew that he could put the ball in play up the middle and drive home the run. Blue Jays jump out to an early 1-0 lead. Cito Gaston doesn't hit and run an awful lot, but here against New York, he put it on with Sprague and Huff, and it led to a run.
Huff stayed at second, and here's Randy Moore, and Pettit bluffs throwing the second as Pat Kelly started to creep in. Randy Moore, the Blue Jays catcher. And the pitch is low, and a nice block by Leyritz. 1-0. Moore with the .224 average. He has just 28 base hits on the year. Very good defensive catcher, but has not proven that he can hit with any consistency at this level. A high fly to center field. Going back is Bernie Williams, still on the run, and near the track makes the catch at a bad base running mistake by Mike Huff. He was playing it halfway, and as a result could not tag, so he's at second now with 2 men out.
Yeah, as soon as he saw Bernie Williams start to turn and camp underneath that fly ball, he's got to go back and pick up and move over. You move over to third base, then you can score on a wild pitch, a pass ball, an air. A lot of options there. That ball wasn't going anywhere. It was hit high. It's breezy here with Skydome open, and it just kind of died out there deep center field.
That'll bring up the number 9 batter, Tomas Perez, playing second base tonight. Roberto Alomar out of the lineup. And Pettit with a fastball for a strike. Tomas Perez batting at .256. 1 home run and 6 RBIs, and time called as Tony Perez out to the mound. And here comes Jim Leyritz. Tony may have picked up that Huff was stealing the signs.
Well, the Blue Jays have a reputation for giving location, and Leyritz is actually setting up awfully early. Buck Showalter is very well versed on teams around the league that will relay location. Blue Jays have done it, and I don't blame them. You get something when the catcher slides to his location too early, go ahead and relay location to a hitter.
Heads up play by the veteran and former Blue Jay Tony Fernandez, knowing the tendencies of this team.
Yeah, he used to hit when they were giving him location here. A lot of teams do it.
Was he a peaker?
No, he wouldn't peek, but he would look for location. He looked for any kind of edge, particularly against a guy as tough as Andy Pettitte. I think it's on the catcher to make sure he doesn't move to his location too early.
And the 0-2 is just off the plate. Leyritz thought it was a strike. You saw him hold the glove there, but Derwood Merrill, the home plate umpire tonight, called it a ball. It's 1-2. You see Leyritz giving the signs for the pitch. And a check back at Huff. And a call, strike 3. He got the call that time. And down go the Jays, but not before scoring a run. We're going to the third. It's 1-0 Toronto.
Investment advice. Bip Roberts, 1986 rookie card, worth about $275. 20 years from now, who knows? 1,000, 2,000, might
Yo,
even go.
Bip, man, you were looking at Robin Roberts. Says here your car's worth 4 cents.
Yo, T, 4 cents if it's in excellent condition, 10 cents if it's totally matched.
Oh, sorry.
Back at Sky Dome as we go to the top of the third. Buck Showalter would have liked to have had the playoff spot wrapped up, but he has a lot of fun ahead of him.
Oh, without a doubt. There's a lot of anxiety and quite a different bounce in our step now. It's nice to have your fate in your hands the next 3 days, and we know Toronto's going to do everything possible to spoil it for us. They've celebrated enough in our faces the last 4 years. It seems like forever, and it'd be nice to be able to get into a playoff situation while Toronto's here.
Pat Kelly leading off. Deion James and Bernie Williams to follow. Kelly at 239 with the 3 home runs, and that's low and away, and it's 2-0. Guzman behind. Of course, a lot of reasons, Buck, for wrapping it up early, the biggest of which is getting the pitching rotation set for the playoffs. But, even though they don't have it wrapped up and they're not certain to wrap it up, you live and you play these games for exactly this.
Oh,
a
yeah.
chance to win the last weekend.
This is why everybody plays the game, to go to the postseason. Talked about how the Yankees haven't been since 1981.
He had a strike, and it's 2-2, so Guzman fell behind, now works back. Guzman has yet to walk a batter. He's been averaging about 5 walks per 9 innings this year. And he goes full to Pat Kelly. You throw that in with the 10 base hits he's allowing per 9 innings, and that's a lot of base runners when Guzman is on the mound. Payoff pitch, he got him. Kelly down on strikes, second strikeout for Guzman, and 1 down here in the third.
Well, Juan Guzman has come out tonight being very aggressive with that fastball, and the number 9 hitter, Pat Kelly, gets overmatched with that fastball down and away. Just the second strikeout for Guzman. But Jim, your point about base on balls is a very valid one, because that has been a problem for this entire ball club all year long.
Here's Deion James, the left fielder, flied out to center field, his first at bat. And that's outside 1-0. Deion with just a slightly open stance from the left side. And that's low and in, 2-0 the count. He's a valuable man for the Yankees, although you see he's been struggling as of late. Part of that is the infrequency that he's been in there. And it's 3-0. It's James making Guzman work.
It's been a long year for pitching coach Galen Cisco with all of the control problems.
And a strike as James took all the way. Well, to give you an idea of the year that Guzman has had with that 4-14 record, we mentioned one last Sunday against the Red Sox to snap a 9-game losing streak. That was his first win since July the 14th, which was his first start after the All-Star game. So he basically went most of the second half of the season without a victory.
And a lot of those starts were very ugly, where he didn't last very long against the Yankees. Went just an inning and a third 2 starts ago. He had a start against Milwaukee where he didn't get an out, faced just 3 batters and had some arm problems.
And the 3-2 and a call, strike 3. James thought it was inside. He let it go by, and Derwood Merrill punches him out. 3rd strikeout for Guzman, and 2 men are out. Well, now it's time for tonight's Lexus Diamond Dust Ball fact. Our fact: Greg Maddox's 19-2 record yields a .905 1-loss percentage. That's highest in Major League history in a 20-decision season. Whose record did Maddox break? And we'll give you the answer in the bottom of the 3rd. Let you mull that over as Bernie Williams comes to bat with the bases empty and 2 men out. And the pitch is low, 1-0.
That strikeout of Deion James is huge, considering how hot Bernie Williams has been. Seems as though against Toronto, Bernie Williams just doesn't miss too many pitches.
Bernie's now 16 for his last 49 at the plate, and a bouncer just, oh, that's a fair ball. Fair ball going down the corner. Bernie can fly. He's on his way to second, and he's going to stop there with a 2-out double. Randy Murr looking at Chuck Merriweather at first base. He thought it was foul. Here comes Cito Gaston. He obviously thought it was foul. Cito had a good view of that. He's talking to Derwood Merrill as he walks by. And I'll be honest with you, I thought it was foul as it left the bat, but Merriweather right there, and he didn't delay. He called fair right away, and it's a double down the right field line.
Chuck Merriweather never hesitated. Randy Norris all the way down to first base to plead his case. Cito Gaston comes out, kind of shakes his head and says, "Now, Chuck, what are you looking at?" The ball hit right there and then went foul. Randy Norr obviously has a very good look right down that first baseline, and he felt it was foul all the way.
Cito getting more than his 2 cents worth. Chuck Merriweather holding his ground.
Let's take a look at this ball by Bernie Williams. It hits right on the chalk line at home plate, and then goes over the bag. But look at Merriweather. He's in great position. The only thing was he was on the inside of the foul line. Generally, you like to see umpires straddle that foul line, or at least stay on the outside so they have a better angle at it. But that ball hit on the dirt, on the chalk at home plate. Now, for that to stay fair by the time it got to the bag, that would be really surprising to me. But you could see it kicked up chalk right on the dirt, just about 6 feet away from home plate.
So now he'll have to face Paul O'Neill with a man in scoring position. And a ground ball, and backhanded by Gonzalez at short, and a strong throw to get him, and the Yankees go down. New York threatens, do not score. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd, 1-0 Toronto.
Postseason baseball is back. Tuesday night, the curtain goes up for baseball's ultimate primetime drama. The first act, the Division Series. The Braves, the Red Sox, the Reds, the Indians, the West winners, and the Wild Cards. Regional coverage at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific starts Tuesday night on NBC.
And back at Skydome, Alex Gonzalez leading off the 3rd and taking a strike. Molitor and Carter to follow, as the Jays with a 1-0 lead on the Yankees here at Skydome. Yankees 1 game up on the California Angels for the wild card berth in the American League. And a check swing, but he went too far, and it's 0-2.
Boy, that's a nasty curveball. Gonzalez hit the first pitch from Pettit last time they faced one another for a home run to right field. On a high fastball.
And down he goes on strikes, 1 man out. 3rd strikeout for Andy Pettit. Gonzalez shaking his head as he goes back to the bench.
This is a very tough curveball because it comes out of Pettit's hand on the same plane as his fastball. There's no indication whatsoever that it's going to be a breaking ball. Sometimes pitchers will cast that breaking ball up and tip the hitter off immediately. Cito Gaston talking to his young hitter about picking out a pitch and waiting for it, watching the ball leave his hand.
Here's Paul Molitor, who struck out his first at-bat, reached first. As Pettit threw a wild pitch on strike 3. Leyritz wasn't able to handle it, and it went all the way back to the screen. And the fastball high, it's 2-0. Earlier this year, Molitor was talking about maybe hanging him up after this year, but he has since changed his mind, and now he's counting on coming back. And a high fly ball to center field. Bernie Williams out, and 2 men are down. Well, now it's time for tonight's Diamond Dust Lexus baseball fact. Our fact. And the answer, who is the record did Maddux break? And the record is, this is for winning percentage, Ron Guidry. 25-3 for the Yankees in 1978, and Maddux with a higher winning percentage this year.
Boy, Louisiana Lightning was unbelievable in 1978. He had that wicked slider, great fastball.
And Joe takes low. It's 2-0.
I went into New York with the Milwaukee Brewers in '78 when they had Molitor, Yount, Cooper, Bando, Hustle, and we went up against Ron Guidry, and nobody hit the ball for the first 2 innings.
High fly to center field, playable for Bernie Williams, and it should be an easy inning for Andy Pettit, as Bernie has it 1-2-3 for the Jays. We're going to the 4th, and we'll return to Baseball Night in America, Yankees and Jays, after this from your local station.
Tonight on News Channel 4 at 11.
And back at Skydome, Ruben Sierra at the plate, a count of a ball and a strike. Go to the 4th. Yankees trailing by a run. Don Mattingly and Jim Leyritz to follow. Jim Hunter with Buck Martinez from Skydome. And a pop coming right back towards us and just below.
Sierra can't get around on Guzman's good fastball when it's upstairs. He can get to it down around the knees, but if he keeps it around the belt and higher, he should have a lot of luck.
Juan Guzman, number 66. And a fly ball to center field. Mike Huff should make the play, and does, and 1 man down. As Guzman continues sailing along. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light, and by the makers of Advil. And you see the roof is open here at Skydome, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Buck Martinez converted that for me as they tell you what the temperature is Celsius here. And time called as the second baseman Tomas Perez tying the shoelaces on his cleats. In fact, there was some talk on the field during batting practice that maybe they'd have to close the roof. The breeze started kicking up and felt somewhat chilly as Mattingly hits it number to 3rd. Here comes Ed Sprague. Off balance throw, but he gets him. 2 men are down.
Well, the Yankee hitters were asking, when are they going to close the roof? Because it's cold down here, and it is. Really cool, and the wind's blowing around Skydome.
You see Ed Sprague has the long sleeve sweatshirt on. Many of the Yankees came out of the clubhouse for batting practice thinking that the roof was closed, and they had on the t-shirts underneath their uniform jerseys, but they had to go back in and change. You see Mattingly there, he has the sweatshirt on. He initially had a t-shirt on and went back in and changed. And 2 outs and no on for Leyritz. Of course, I put my coat on as well. Leyritz late on that pitch.
Well, that was a good slider there. The slider that Leyritz hit his first time up came on a 2-2 count. Guzman left it over the outer half of the plate. It didn't spin much.
And a strike, and it's 0-2. Guzman looks very good tonight. Obviously has a lot of confidence after winning at Boston last Sunday and pitching 8 strong innings. He allowed just 1 run on 3 hits against the Red Sox. And he got him. And a 1-2-3 inning for Guzman. We're going to the bottom of the 4th at Skydome. 1-0 Toronto.
Saturday, 8 NFL elite running backs compete to see who's best as they run to daylight. Plus, the Ford NFL's Fastest Man Saturday on NBC.
We'll get you back to the Yankees-Blue Jays game in just a moment, but first, this update. The Mariners at Texas, bottom of the third. Rangers threatening with runners on first and third. Chris Bosio facing Rusty Greer, gets Greer to ground into the 6-4-3 double play to get the Mariners out of the inning, as Seattle has a chance to clinch the American League West tonight. Jim and Buck.
All right, Hannah, and Chris Bosio's amazing. You know, he keeps throwing that junk up there. You go back. How can I hit that guy? You're 0 for 4.
Well, the Texas Rangers are 1-9 against Seattle this year. They're the same as the Yankees and the Blue Jays in that regard. The Yankees have dominated Toronto all year long, and the Mariners have beaten up on the Rangers.
John Olerud at the plate with a count of 2-0, leading off the Blue Jays fourth. And there's a hard smash. It's caught by Fernandez at short, and a nice play by the former Jay. He saw that ball quickly off the bat and takes a base hit away, and a little smile there. He may have landed on that injured knee, and now a grimace out of Tony Fernandez.
Tony Fernandez has the highest fielding average in the major leagues. Highest fielding percentage for 1 year. In 1989, he had a .992 fielding average. Blue Jay fans are used to seeing Tony Fernandez make that type of play.
He spent 7.5 years, 2 different stints with the Toronto organization. And here's Ed Sprague, takes a strike. Sprague scored the Toronto run in the second as he led off the inning with a walk and came on the score after a double by Mike Huff. A ground ball out by Robert Perez. 1-1 the count on the Jays' third baseman. Sprague giving that gum a workout. There's a ground ball foul. Sprague now in his 4th big league season with the Jays. Cal Ripken continues going strong. Marty Cordova padding his stats for the possible Rookie of the Year. Will certainly get a lot of support.
Andy Pettit's going to get some consideration for that.
Inside, and it's 2-2.
I think it's significant that he's pitched so well during the heat of a pennant race. Generally, you look for the rookies and they have a little bit of pennant race jitters, but not Andy Pettit.
In the month of September, he is 4-1.
And he's had to pitch some big games when Jack McDowell has gone down, because you think of McDowell and Cone as being 1A, 1B. Nobody really a particular lead over the other, but Jack McDowell's got some problems with his shoulder. He had a cortisone shot about 10 days ago.
The 2-2 pitch is fouled back. Well, McDowell is a gamer, and he likes to pitch through things. Buck Showalter has his plan for tomorrow that McDowell will give it a try if the Yankees need that game. That is, if the Yankees lose tonight and the Angels win, and New York comes to the park tomorrow tied for that wild card spot. And the count goes full on Ed Sprague. McDowell will give it a shot and hope for the best, and if not, Scott Kamenicki, I guess, probably would get the start tomorrow. And it's ball 4, and Ed Sprague, for the second time tonight, draws a base on balls. And he's on first with 1 man out here in the 4th. Well, it's been an exciting September, and we're still up in the air for the Final 4 playoff spots. But come Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, postseason baseball returns with Game 1 of the Division Series. In the National League, Atlanta's Greg Maddux will pitch Game 1 against the wild card, Colorado, Houston, or Los Angeles. In the other series, Cincinnati will visit the West winner, Los Angeles or Colorado. In the American League, Boston and Cleveland await the 2 survivors of the Yankees, Seattle, California, and Texas postseason race. Regional coverage begins Tuesday night on NBC. And if my Baseball Night in America abacus is correct, with the Astros losing that game at Wrigley Field, the Dodgers can clinch at least a wild card with a victory tonight at San Diego, because if they win tonight, the Dodgers then at worst would end up with 67 losses, and the Astros, by losing today, go to 68. So the Dodgers take the field knowing they at least can clinch a playoff spot, and they'll be at San Diego later tonight. One of the 2 games on the West Coast tonight, each with playoff implications. The other, the Angels at home against Oakland.
Valdez for the Dodgers against Joey Hamilton for the Padres in that Dodger game.
1-0 to Huff is a ground ball. There's a base hit to left field. In between Randy Velarde and Tony Fernandez. Stopping at second is Ed Sprague. Huff is 2 for 2. And the Jays with first and second and 1 man out.
Well, it was the same combination of Sprague and Huff back in the 3rd inning that led to the Blue Jays run in this ballgame.
And here's the man that got that run in, Robert Perez. A ground out to short with runners at second and third, and that pushed Ed Sprague across the plate for the run. The Yankees have their infield set for 2, hoping for a ground ball. They got the ground ball off the bat of Huff, but it found the hole. And the fastball is wide, 1-0. And Larrett's now calling time. He's out to the mound to talk it over with Andy Pettitte.
Well, we mentioned that Larretts and Pettitte have a great rapport together. They have worked exclusively in the last 6 starts, which will make it 7. So Larretts knows his pitcher very well. He left that fastball up there, and I'm sure he went out there to remind him to finish, follow through, get right back into that strike zone.
1-0 the count on Perez. The Jays already with a 1-0 lead, trying to add to that here in the 4th. And a foul back in the screen. Perez guessing fastball there, and he got it. 1-1 count.
Andy Pettitte is having a good year. He's 11-9. You see his last 6 starts, he's 5-1 with a very good ERA. But he has been 2 different pitchers, home and road. At home, he is 8-2 compared to a 7-3 mark on the road.
And a ground ball foul wide of first, and you hear the Blue Jays fans, they're getting on Chuck Merriweather because of the ball he called fair off the bat of Bernie Williams in the 3rd. They want equal time here at Skydome.
Well, the Blue Jay fans don't often get very vocal, but right there after Cito Gaston had gone out and protested Merriweather's call of that base hit by Bernie Williams down the first base line, they got on the first base ump.
The 1-2 line to left field. That's a base hit. Deion James got a quick jump on it. They're going to have to hold Sprague at 3rd. So the Jays will have the bases loaded as Robert Perez hits a line drive single to left field. And here come the Blue Jays in the 4th, and here comes the pitching coach, Nardi Contreras, from the Yankee dugout.
Let's take a look at this base hit by Perez. They're set up inside. You can see Perez gets to it. A pretty good pitch from Pettitte. He hammers it to Deion James on 1 hop, who holds Ed Sprague. Sprague coming around 3rd base, picks up his 3rd base coach, sees the stop sign, and shuts it down quickly around 3rd.
And there is an anxious Yankees owner, George Steinbrenner, playing the bongos.
Well, those 2 have been in opposite seats for many years. Now Steinbrenner has the advantage. His Yankee ball club with 9 wins against Toronto this year. Look at the batting average, 317 compared to 249. Blue Jays have a big edge in home runs, but it hasn't led to many victories, obviously. The ERA is a big difference. Blue Jays giving up almost 7 runs a ball game against New York.
Blue Jays have been in somewhat of a home run drought. And the pitch is low to Randy Knorr, 1-0. If they don't hit a home run in this inning, it'll be 70 consecutive innings between home runs to Toronto. And they've hit just 4 in their last 135. So a long ball drought from this Toronto club. And a good fastball. The count evens a ball and a strike on Randy Knorr, who was 0 for 1. He flied out to center in the 2nd.
What Randy Knorr has to do in this at bat is make sure that he doesn't pull off the pitch. We've talked about Pettitte and that great changeup. He's got to target center field, right center. At least get home Ed Sprague from 3rd base. Boy, that's a good pitch right there. Leyritz really caught that awkwardly, and I think he may have confused Durwood Merrill. There was an awful lot of movement behind the plate. That pitch kind of handcuffed the catcher, and he made it look a lot worse than it was.
One man out. The Yankees have their infield back looking for two. And there's a ground ball to Mattingly. He'll come home to cut off the run. Leyritz with the force. The throw was high from Mattingly, so no return throw, but they do cut off the run. And Mattingly with a good play there to get Sprague at the plate. Two men are out.
Boy, a very alert play by Mattingly. He knew that ball wasn't hit sharply enough to get two, so he went ahead and cut down the lead run on the force out at home.
Look at the size of Mattingly's glove.
That ball is away from Noer. He slaps Mattingly. That would have been a very difficult 3-6-3 double play, so they get Ed Sprague on the force out.
He doesn't miss many balls with that glove.
He doesn't miss many balls with any glove. 9-time Gold Glover.
So now two men are out, and here's Tomas Perez, the number 9 batter. And you would think, Buck, that Pettit has the matchup he wants to work out of trouble. The bases loaded down, 2 men out. And the Rule 5 draft pickup, Tomas Perez, the number 9 batter at the plate here in the 4th. Pettit still going from the stretch with 2 men out. 2-0.
Perez played an A-ball last year, and he wasn't expected to play an awful lot, and hasn't here in Toronto this year, but he's gotten some key hits. He's got a lot more baseball instincts than anybody in Toronto ever expected, and he's got an awful lot of confidence.
And this one is fouled off down the right field line and back in the crowd as Paul O'Neill and Don Mattingly give chase. There's the Yankee captain. Trying to get into postseason for the first time, and Tomas Perez at the plate, just 21 years old. He was born in Venezuela, but now lives in the Dominican Republic. The land of shortstops. Perez a shortstop by trade. And there's a looper, and that's going to be a base hit to center field. Here's Huff to score. Robert Perez around third. He'll score, and the Jays take a 3-0 lead. And there he is, Tomas Perez. His 24th base hit of the year. He hasn't had many, but none bigger than that one. A 2-run single here in the 4th. And they got to Andy Pettit with 2 outs. He nearly pitched out of it, but that base hit, and Buck Showalter now behind 3-0 in the 4th.
Tomas Perez has a lot of people in Toronto shaking their head. He has done a good job with the limited playing time. That's a pretty good pitch from Pettit. He has to clear out that front side. He drops the head on it and hits it over the shortstop's head into center to drive home 2 runs and give the Blue Jays a 3-run cushion.
For Perez, he now has 8 RBIs on the year. And here's Alex Gonzalez, the Blue Jay shortstop. He takes a ball. Alex popped up to short and struck out. Gonzalez, another rookie. He's just 22 years old. And a strike. Fastball hit the corner. You know, Cito Gaston has a lot of young players, good young players, as Mariano Rivera now gets up in the Yankee bullpen. So in terms of looking ahead to next year, at least they have a core of players that they could try to rebuild around. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. As the Jays last year in the strike season had their consecutive years of a winning record snapped at 11, so it'll be back-to-back years of losing records, but it isn't as bad as you might think when you look at how they played this year. And Pettit gets Gonzalez, but the Jays score 2. Yankees come to bat in the 5th, trailing 3-0. Well, back at Skydome, there's downtown Toronto, this beautiful city. And there's the Yankees owner, George Steinbrenner, Gord Ash, the Blue Jays GM on the left. And there you see the longest droughts in the American League of getting into the postseason. That Indian drought will end this year. Their first trip since '54. Texas add another one as they've been eliminated. The Mariners and the Yankees trying to get there. The Mariners for the first time, the Yankees for the first time since '81. And New York trailing 3-0 as they come to bat in the fifth. Lower third of the lineup. Randy Velarde, Tony Fernandez, and Pat Kelly. And a high pop foul just below us. A ball and a strike on Velarde, who's 0 for 1.
Randy Velarde was a late sign by the Yankees, and Buck Showalter is very grateful that he finally did the deal and got Velarde on his team because he is so versatile and so valuable. He's one of those guys that always keeps himself ready, and he stays sharp with a limited number of at-bats.
And his hitting in the second half of the year has kept him in the lineup. Fastball is high. It's 2-1. You know, Velarde was one of the players that went to that Homestead camp trying to get a job, and the Yankees finally re-signed him very late in spring training to come back and fill that role that he has done so well, but at a salary that was more in line with that role. Last year he went to arbitration and won and had a salary of $1.1 million. This year, more in line with his role, about $350,000. And that's high ball 4, which is good work if you can get it.
Pretty good 2-year average.
First walk of the game for Juan Guzman. He has 4 strikeouts. Guzman, who has been hurt by walks this year, averaging 5 per 9 innings of work, walks the leadoff man in the 5th. When Andy Pettit did that in the 2nd, Pettit walked Ed Sprague to lead off the inning. He came around to score. Here's Tony Fernandez. Fernandez bounced back to Guzman in the 2nd. Ed Sprague is creeping in at 3rd. John Olerud holding the bag at 1st on Velarde. And it's low for a ball, 1-0. This Yankees team does not run very often. They have 50 stolen bases on the year as a team, which is last in the American League. And their percentage is not that great either. They have 50 stolen bases, and they've been gunned down 30 times. That is a terrible percentage on the bases. Blue Jays, in contrast, they've stolen 75 and have been caught just 16 times. So New York is station-to-station team offensively. There's a strike. The ball with a strike on Tony Fernandez. Now Velarde, though, is a good base runner, and Fernandez with that good back control. Buck Showalter could go to the hit and run to try to get something going.
Well, it's a little more difficult when you're down by 3 runs to gamble like that. They are so used to seeing Guzman struggle, they might be a little more reluctant to gamble.
And there's a base hit to center field. Velarde had to hold up. He thought Gonzalez might have a play, so he'll scamper into 2nd. And the Yankees with 1st and 2nd and nobody out here in the 5th. 4th base hit for New York. Tony Fernandez just serving that ball into center field.
Well, here's a situation where Noah wants to go out and talk to Guzman to remind him the formula for the success he had in the first 4 innings. Pitch ahead, use that fastball to get ahead, and then we'll finish him off with the slider. One thing that Guzman has had trouble with is getting into situations like this when he is ahead, trying to be more of a pitcher than a thrower. He thinks he has to be perfect, but when you throw 95 miles an hour, you can shoot for the heart of the plate a little more often.
Pat Kelly is the Yankees' best bunter. Let's see if Buck goes to the sacrifice to get 2 in scoring position. Nobody out here in the 5th. The Jays think he's going to bunt. He was going to swing away, and he takes a ball. Olerud was ready to charge from 1st. You see him backing up now. And Ed Sprague is right on the line at 3rd. Kelly, the number 9 batter, he struck out his first at bat. Kelly has 10 sacrifices on the year. Easily the most on the Yankees club. And the 1 foul back in the screen, a ball and a strike. So Buck at least gave him 1 swing. Let's see what he does here.
Well, it would make a little more sense if they asked Pat Kelly to bunt in this situation if Wade Boggs were hitting first. Boggs is so hot that he's out of the lineup with that hamstring problem. But right now, Pat Kelly has hit a home run against Guzman. He hasn't had a whole lot of success against him, but he's taken him deep before.
The 1-1, he was going to swing away, and he takes it low, and it's 2-1. Randy Knorr yelling encouragement out to Juan Guzman.
This is where Pat Kelly can sit on a fastball. He doesn't have to chase that breaking ball right now. He can zero in on fastball and he drive one up the alley.
Deion James is on deck. And a high fly to right field. Very playable for Robert Perez. He makes the catch. Randy Velarde bluffed that second just to draw a throw. So Kelly retired and 1 man out. Very easy to say now, well, he should have sacrificed after he makes an out. But Buck Showalter playing for the big inning. And Kelly flies out to right field. One thing about Buck Showalter, always knows what he's going to do. This guy is as prepared as any manager in baseball. See the books he has next to him filled with the data that he uses from game to game. And here's Deion James, who's 0 for 2. Batting in that leadoff spot tonight with Boggs on the bench. And it's outside and low, 1-0. Deion flied out to center field leading off the game and then struck out in third.
Deion James has had a lot of work against Toronto this year. He has driven in 10 runs against the Blue Jays. There are 4 Yankee hitters that have driven 10 runs in against Toronto, and James is one of them. Boggs has 10 ribbies, Bernie Williams has 10, and Paul O'Neill.
There's Willie Randolph, the Yankees' third base coach. Willie was on that team in 1981, the last time the Yankees went to the postseason. She was early on in a very productive career. One and one the count with 1 man out. First and second for the Yanks. And the pitch is high, and it's 2-1.
Well, as Noah goes out to the mound at Juan Guzman, take a look at the outfield, left and center. Mike Huff and Joe Carter, they're really not that deep. Deion James has the ability to drive the ball to left center and get that ball by them. You see, Robert Perez is straight away in right field. Deion James in these situations has been very productive.
Now, Deion has 2 home runs, but as Buck points out, he is a line drive hitter. And if he gets it past the drawn-in outfield on this turf, and instead it's a ground ball to short. Gonzalez bobbles it and flipped to second for 1, and the bobble cost him 2. Gonzalez may have been screened by Randy Velarde going by, and as a result, he gets the force at second on Fernandez. Gonzalez with 18 errors on the year, no error on that play as he got an out. But the opportunity to try for 2 went by.
Well, this is some of the inexperience that you have to live with when you're watching young players gain some playing time. Velarde has to hold up, and he may have lost sight of that ball momentarily. They get the lead runner, but they waste an opportunity to get 2 and get out of the inning.
And now they have to face Bernie Williams, a red-hot hitter, with 2 on and 2 out. Williams is 2 out of 2 on the night, and he represents the tying run as he stands in. And the fastball outside, 1-0. Bernie singled in the first, then doubled in the third, and here comes Cito Gaston.
Cito Gaston doesn't go to the mound very often unless he wants to talk pitch selection and how to pitch to hitter. Quickly put an arm on Guzman's back and said, okay, now let's get back to what you were doing. He'll leave all of the mechanical stuff up to the pitching coach, Galen Cisco, but when he wants to talk about theory and how to pitch to particular hitters, he'll jump right off that bench and walk to the mound. Cito hasn't been very pleased with the way Guzman has failed to use his fastball more. He's got a good fastball, but they've always been trying to coax him into using it more often.
Look at Bernie since the All-Star break. 104 base hits in less than half a season. 1-0 is the count. See Bernie with just a slightly open stance from that side. Way outside, and it's 2-0. Should Bernie reach, Guzman then would have to go to work against Paul O'Neill. So he has a tough batter at the plate and another tough batter in the on-deck circle.
Well, what a hack Yankee added that pitch. He was looking for a fastball, got it, and fouled it straight back. He'd like to have another swing at that one.
I would say he was looking for that pitch.
Now they had to count in his favor, and that fastball was right about belt high, and he fouled it straight back.
Bernie in that slight crouch. And he swung at a good pitch for Guzman there, and it's 2-2. Not a good pitch to drive. The pitch tailed in on him. Bernie may have fouled it off his foot.
Guzman quickly throwing 2 fastballs after the short meeting with manager Cito Gaston.
Bernie trying to shake it off. The Yankees can't afford to lose him this weekend.
See those scuff marks on that bat down around the label? That means that Guzman's getting in his kitchen.
Bernie trying to prevent Guzman from quick pitching him there. First and third, 2 men out. Jays lead at 3-0. And a foul back. There's Randy Velotti. He walked the lead off the inning. He's at third. And over at first is Deion James. He reached on a fielder's choice. Juan Guzman trying to work out of it here in the 5th. 2-2 on Bernie Williams. And he went too far. Excellent pitch by Guzman, and he works out of it. Yankees threaten, do not score. We're going to the bottom of the 5th. Jays lead at 3-0.
Sunday on an all-new Mad About You, Paul and Jamie make the biggest decision of their entire married life.
It's a small step for a couple of Buckmans, but it's a huge leap for Buckmankind.
And Hope sending sexy letters to everyone.
Why does it say message sent to global list?
All new Hope and Gloria, NBC Sunday.
This year, Unsolved Mysteries will be moving a little faster. We're smoking.
New Unsolved Mysteries, Friday, October 20th.
We'll get you back to Yankees and Blue Jays in just a moment. But first is Seattle at Texas tonight in the 5th. It's a scoreless game. Will Clark at the plate against Chris Bosio. And Clark tapes him deep for a solo shot, his 17th home run of the season. Texas, the first on the board as the Rangers take a 1-0 lead. Seattle trying to wrap up the American League West tonight, but they can't get anything going offensively. Let's get back to Jim and Buck.
All right, Hannah, and here in the bottom of the 5th, the Blue Jays trying to derail the Yankees' wild card chase. And Toronto with a 3-0 lead on New York. The Jays batting here in the 5th. Paul Molitor, Joe Carter, and John Olerud against the rookie Andy Pettitte. Will add a run in the 2nd and 2 more in the 4th. And the changeup is low. A ball on the 2nd on Molitor. Paul struck out in the 1st, but reached on a wild pitch. Flied out to center field in the 3rd. Late on that fastball, and it's 1-2. Paul Molitor. And he got him. 5th strikeout for Andy Pettitte as Molitor goes down, leading off the 5th.
Last time out, Andy Pettitte didn't have a very good curveball. He got beat by the Tigers. But tonight, he's got the best breaking ball I've seen for a while. That bottom's falling out of that thing. None of the Blue Jay hitters are picking up on the spin at all.
With Carter in there with nobody on, he's 0 for 2. Coming back after missing almost 2 games with a sore back. And that may have gotten a piece of Derwood Merrill, I believe it was. Look at Joe saying, come on, Darryl, shake it off. Look, you try not to rub. Look at Joe laughing. It's easy for Joe to laugh. It didn't get
Let's see, Joe's from Oklahoma and Derwood's from Texas. Longhorns and the Sooners never got along, and Joe's giving Derwood what for right now. Y'all set, Derwood?
1-0 the count on Joe. And a high pop-up to center field. Bernie Williams now comes in a couple of steps. And he'll make the catch. Retired, 2 men out. Well, tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, NBC Sports World answers the questions: who is the NFL's most versatile running back and who is the NFL's fastest man? It's the NFL Run to Life. See some of the game's toughest running backs and fastest players as Natrone Means, Eric Metcalf, Thurman Thomas and others compete in a series of events that test speed, strength, agility, and pass catching ability. That's the NFL Run to Daylight tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC Sports World. 2 outs and nobody on for John Olerud, who was grounded out and lined out to Fernandez. Fernandez taking a base hit away. That is last at bat in the 4th. John Olerud, one of the causes of concern for the Jays because of his sudden lack of power. He has just 8 home runs this year.
Well, they expected Olerud to be able to hit home runs on a more consistent basis, but much like Don Mattingly, he has not been able to hit the long ball.
2 years ago when he won the batting title, he had 24. Last year just 12, and this year 8. That one hit the inside corner, 3-1. His RBI totals also have been suffering. And a high pop foul. That'll be back in the crowd down the left field line. In 93, when Olerud won the batting title at 363, he drove in 107. Last year, he batted a respectable 297, but in the strike-shortened year, he drove in just 67. And this year, just 53 RBIs, and he's in there with that cleanup spot. And there's the hitting coach, Larry Heisel. And again, that's fouled down the left field line.
Well, a lot of these hitters' problems have really been the effects of the domino effect, because Devon White was in the leadoff spot. Alomar for a while was batting second. They were all kind of having off years to start with. Molitor hit third for the first part of the year, and he was really having trouble getting started.
And the payoff pitch is inside, ball 4, and he walked him. Third walk issued by Andy Pettitte. It comes with 2 outs here in the 5th. And the only advantage for Andy Pettitte is that he has walked probably the slowest Blue Jays runner in John Olerud. Not only does Olerud not have a stolen base this year, he hasn't even attempted a steal. Mattingly will hold the bag, and here's Ed Sprague, who has walked twice and scored a run. And time called. We're in the 5th. The Jays lead the Yankees 3-0. And a high pop foul. That'll be back in the crowd on the first base side. 0-1 on Sprague.
Eddie Sprague came into this season with one objective on his mind, and that was to stay with the same batting style all year long, and he's been able to do that. In his past, he was somewhat of a tinkerer. He'd go 0 for 4, and next day he'd have a different bat, different batting stance, and all kinds of different changes. Boy, what a good play by Leverett right there. He smothered that ball in the dirt. Got out on the back from Durwood Merrill and keep it off the umpire. But you see how he gets over in front of it, gloves it, and then checks the runner at first.
Leverrett's looking into the dugout. Buck Showalter to see if Showalter wants a particular pitch. 2 men are out. And that's inside. 2-1 the count on Sprague.
Jim, that was one of the few times that Andy Pettitte has shaken off a signal from his catcher. He had a breaking ball in his mind. Leverett didn't get to it until the 4th sign. Generally, they're right on the same page all the time.
And a high pop to short. Fernandez will step in front of Velarde and make the catch. And the Jays go down in the 5th. We go to the 6th at Skydome. 3-0 Jays.
Postseason baseball is back. Tuesday night, the curtain goes up for baseball's ultimate primetime drama, the first act, the Division Series. The Braves, the Red Sox, the Reds, the Indians, the West winners, and the Wild Cards. Regional coverage at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific starts Tuesday night on NBC.
We go to the 6th at Skydome. The Yankees trailing 3-0 in this important game for New York. Paul O'Neill, Ruben Sierra, and Don Mattingly against Juan Guzman, who has pitched very well through the first 5. The Yankees have stranded 5 runners so far. And it's low for a ball, 1-0. O'Neill, the Yankees' number 3 batter, is 0 for 2. He's grounded into a fielder's choice and bounced out to short. And that one got away from Guzman. It's 2-0. Bobby Bonilla, big night for the Orioles. And time called by O'Neill as he thought Guzman was going to quick pitch him. The Angels will play later on, beginning the day 1 game back of the Yankees for that wild card spot. And a fastball for a strike. 2-1 on O'Neill.
It's a totally different Guzman than the Yankees saw last time out.
High chopper to first. Olerud has it, and he'll take it himself to retire O'Neill, 1 man down.
The last time the Yankees faced Guzman at Yankee Stadium, he pitched an inning and a third, walked 6, and left in the midst of a 5-run second inning. Tonight they're seeing the Guzman of 92 and 93.
Very quiet Yankee bench. You know, the Yankees had yesterday off after winning the first 2 games of this road trip in Milwaukee, as Ruben Sierra stands in. And sometimes, Buck, when a team is playing well, a day off can interrupt that. Stats go to sleep. And right now, let's join Hannah Storm.
Okay, Jim, well, the Seattle Mariners having some trouble scoring in Arlington tonight until the 6th inning. The Rangers with a 1-0 lead when Mike Blowers, with a long fly to right off Bobby Witt, brings home Dan Wilson to tie this game up at 1 apiece. The 94th RBI on the season for Blowers. The next batter is Vince Coleman, and Coleman comes through with an RBI as well. He scores Blowers from second. It's now 2-1 Mariners as they hope to wrap up the American League West tonight. Let's get back to the action with Jim and Buck.
All right, Hannah, and there's Ruben Sierra. He's at first. A ground ball single to right field between Olerud and Perez. So a 1-out base runner for New York, and they need base runners. They trail by 3 as Don Mattingly comes in. The Mariners trying to clinch a playoff spot for the first time in franchise history. And it's outside to Mattingly, 1-0. Now Don Mattingly, rumored to be in his last year with the Yankees, and a lot of Yankee fans here tonight. And it's outside, 2-0.
Well, it's unfortunate that a lot of the people that are just latecomers as Yankee fans don't really know the Don Mattingly that most of the players around the league know. The guy that drove in 145 runs in 1985. We had mentioned the Yankees coming to Toronto at Exhibition Stadium last weekend of the season, needing to win 3 to force a tie. Well, Mattingly that year hit 324, with 35 homers, and drove in 145.
And won the AL MVP.
He was the most feared hitter in the American League.
You can see he's standing just about upright. In those years, he was in more of a crouch where he generated his power. And a ground ball. Perez has it at second. He'll flip to Gonzalez on the force on Sierra. So they get the lead man. 2 men are out. And Mattingly replaces Sierra at first. I thought Perez was going to go to first, but he trusted his arm, and he got it there ahead of the sliding Sierra for the second out as Gonzalez hung in at second base.
Well, it's so important to keep the Yankees off of second base in scoring position. Ruben Sierra was at first base. Perez has a very strong arm. You see Sierra sizes up the situation, slides hard into second base. They got the lead run. It's important because we talked about the Yankees playing station-to-station baseball, and now they don't have that runner at second base in scoring position.
Jim Leyritz takes the ball as Mattingly goes back to first. Leyritz singled in the second, struck out in the fourth. Leyritz, a very confident ball player. And a strike. Really gets that Gummel working over. 31 years old now. Last year hit 17 home runs for the Yankees. This year he has 7. Mattingly with a small lead off first. Good cut. He fouls it back, and it's 1-2. On from the stretch with Mattingly at first.
Last time they went fastball away and struck Leyritz out. Let's see what Noah wants to do here.
Ed Sprague is guarding the line third. The outfield straight away on Leyritz. We're in the 6th. Popped up back of first. Olerud gives chase. Here comes Perez. It's Olerud. And now Perez, and it falls in. And miscommunication there. Perez thought Olerud was going to take it. And then Olerud just gave way to Perez. And it falls in, and the Yankees get a break.
Well, Olerud looked like he was camped under it, and then he heard something, and he broke off. He felt like Perez had called him off. Perez hadn't. Watch the reaction here. He turns, and then Perez sees that he's nowhere near the ball. Tries in vain to make the grab, but that's the case of guys unfamiliar with one another. John Olerud's so used to Robbie Alomar coming over there and taking everything.
And it doesn't matter as he gets him on strikes. We're going to the bottom of the 6th. Toronto 3, New York nothing.
Sunday at 12:30 Eastern, an NFL on NBC doubleheader. First, the undefeated Dolphins battle the Bengals. The Chargers face the Steelers Sunday on NBC.
There is Don Mattingly, who is trying to get into postseason play for the first time. We asked manager Buck Showalter about the inspiration of Mattingly.
Well, I can say it's an emotional thing with all of us here, and Donnie doesn't like to talk about it. He doesn't like it to be brought up, but it's a torch that everybody on this club carries for Donnie, and it's been a rallying thing for all of us because we know how much down in his heart it means to Donnie, and he won't talk about it because in some way he feels like it's something, a break from the team concept, but I don't think there's any bigger feather I could wear in my hat than just being a part of a club that's able to do that, because Donnie's the type of people that should be playing when everybody else stops playing.
And I'll tell you, all of New York, the fans really wanted for him. You could just... All right, 1,782 games coming into tonight. The most among active players who have never reached the postseason. Mike Huff flied out to left field. Deion James made the grab. Here's Robert Perez, who has a good night going. An RBI and a ground out in the second, and a single and a run scored in the fourth. Fouls it back, and he's behind 0-2. Andy Pettitte, since allowing 2 runs in the fourth, has calmed down. He did allow a walk with 2 outs to Olerud in the 5th, but he got Sprague pop up to short. So he's retired 5 of the last 6 batters.
Boy, once again, Pettitte and Leyritz having a tough time getting together on a pitch. Leyritz gave him about 4 or 5 different suggestions of pitch selection and location, and Pettitte didn't see anything he liked. That's all right. I don't mind that at all. I think Pettitte is now starting to understand what his strength is and what he has to do to get hitters out. I think it's a combination of catchers and pitchers putting their heads together. Good change up there. Had Perez out in front.
Andy Pettitte is just 23 years old. And this is rookie season, making his 26th start of the year. 5 times he's worked in relief the Yankees this year. And a little looper back of second. Fernandez out, as is Kelly, and it's Kelly that makes the grab, and 2 men are down. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. And McDonald's. Have you had your break today? Here's Randy Knorr with 2 outs and nobody on. Swing and a miss. Toronto catcher is 0 for 2. And a strike. You know, with the departure of Pat Borders, that's the one position this year that the Jays never really did settle on any one guy to go in there and play on a regular basis. They allowed Borders to leave as a free agent. Signed with Kansas City, is now with Texas, and they've really been rotating 3 different guys in and out.
Well, the everyday player was supposed to be Randy Knorr, but he got off to such a bad start. He had a lot of trouble catching the ball and throwing the ball. Sandy Martinez, a young catcher up from AA, appears to be the future catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's done a good job, although he's pretty green.
Fly ball to right field. O'Neill will make a play. And a one-handed grab. Jays go 1-2-3. We're going to the 7th, and we'll return to Baseball Night in America, Yanks and Jays, after this from your local station.
Dealer.
Tonight on News Channel 4 at 11.
We go to the 7th at Skydome. Jim Hunter with Buck Martinez on Baseball Night in America, and the Yankees down by 3. Final weekend of the regular season. Here's Randy Velarde leading off for New York, and he takes a ball. Randy struck out in the 2nd and walked in the 5th. Lower 3rd of the lineup coming up against Guzman here in the 7th. Boy, he was right on that pitch and fouled it back.
That pitch looks so hittable. You see it very well upstairs from Guzman, but very few hitters can get on top of it. When he's throwing it right, he's a little extra hop as it gets into the hitting zone. You've really got to fight to make yourself get that ball down.
And he checked his swing in time, and the count to 2-1. You see that big 66 on the back of Juan Guzman. He selected his uniform number to match his birth year. Born in 1966 in the Dominican Republic. And it's low for a ball, 3-1. Is that how you selected your number?
No, I wasn't born in 13. No, I just showed up. They had a uniform hanging in my locker, and I was thrilled to have it.
Oh, is that? There you go. And a strike, and it's 3-2. You know, I was going to ask you what Ty Cobb was really like.
He sharpened his spikes, I know that.
As I've heard. Guy could hit a little bit. 3-2 on Velarde, leading the 7th. And a pop foul. You know, on this Yankee team, as Velarde broke his bat, especially since George Steinbrenner has owned the club, they've retired so many uniforms. Before you know it, you're going to see Yankees with uniform numbers 66 and 72 by necessity, not by choice.
I love the stories of those young rookies coming to spring training asking for particular numbers. You know, what's your number? You know, well, I'd like to have 4. No, well, how about 3? No, we can't do that either.
There's Mr. Steinbrenner checking out the action. Gord Ash, the Blue Jays GM. Line drive to left field. Joe Carter backpedaling and makes the one-handed grab to retire Velarde. Well, on the Yankees, the only 2 numbers between 1 and 10 that are not retired are number 2 and number 6. Derek Jeter, their shortstop of the future, has been given number 2. Tony Fernandez wears number 6. Those other single digits and up through number 10 have been retired, as have several others. For quite a while, they only had 4 numbers retired as Fernandez steps in. Outside with the ball is Guzman. They retired Babe Ruth's number 3, Lou Gehrig's number 4, and the number 5 of Joe DiMaggio, and then in 1969, the number 7 of Mickey Mantle. And this one slapped down the left field line. Long run for Carter, still coming, and makes the catch. Good jump for Carter, and he makes the play, and 2 men are down. Now there's some life in those old legs.
Yeah, Joe has had to play a little bit of center field lately because Devon White broke his foot and he's gone for the season. Joe is probably most comfortable playing right field, but some of the young outfielders here in Toronto, he's had to move over into left.
And he has told Cito Gaston on many occasions that if someone has to be out of position, he doesn't mind it being him if it'll make somebody else more comfortable. So that's a real team player moving for the good of the club at the expense of himself. And as a veteran leader, he would have every right to say, no, I'm a right fielder, I want to stay here. But wherever Cito needs him, and at times he's even gone in and suggested to Cito, no, I'll move if you need me to. And Kelly swings and misses at another good slider. It's 0-2.
Well, you look at what Guzman's doing to the Yankees tonight, and it really makes you shake your head if you're in the dugout with the Blue Jays, because it has been such a roller coaster ride with Guzman. Just 4-14 this year, but tonight he looks like a world beater. Prior to the '94 season, Guzman had a 40-12 record. He was the most dominant right-hander in the league, holding hitters to about a .210 batting average for the first 2 years of his career.
And it's high, 2-2. When he was a rookie in '91, he was the sensation of the second half. Pitched very, very well down the stretch as the Jays won the AL East before losing to Minnesota in the playoffs. And anytime you break in and go 10-3, you know you have good stuff.
But now the Blue Jays are really in a tough spot with Guzman, because they don't know whether or not they want to offer him arbitration next year.
If there is arbitration. 3-2, and it's high, ball 4, and a great at-bat there for Pat Kelly. As he was down 0-2, Guzman got a little sloppy there, and he works the walk with 2 men out. Only the second walk issued by the right-hander. As the Yankees try to get something going here, they have stranded 6. And Kelly on in the 7th with 2 men down for Deion James. Now, if Deion can get on, then you get into that heart of the Yankee order with Bernie Williams on deck, then Paul O'Neill and Sierra, but 2 men are out. And he misses again. Cito Gaston really moving his outfield defense around tonight, Buck. Mike Huff is now shading towards left center. Joe Carter continues to play shallow in left field, and you saw the gap in right center field with the right fielder Robert Perez basically playing straight away. So a lot of room in right center and a lot of room down the right field line for the left-handed hitting Deion James as Tony Castillo begins to loosen in the Blue Jays bullpen. As the high bouncer over the head of Olaru Perez, far to his right, makes the play, and he saves the big inning. We're going to the bottom of the 7th. 7th inning stretch at the Dome. 3-0 Jays.
Saturday on JAG. The action continues. A high-tech pirate, a killer torpedo,
Who the hell is this guy?
and a deadly countdown.
300 yards and closing.
Thousands of lives are at stake.
Collision alarm.
All new JAG, 8/7 Central, NBC Saturday.
We'll get you back to Yankees Blue Jays in just a moment, but first the latest from the Seattle Rangers game. Texas trailing by 1 with runners at the corners in the bottom of the 6th. Bobby Ayala trying to pick off Otis Nixon at first, but the throw got away. That scored John Marzano, and Nixon safe at 3rd. Nixon would go on to score on a Will Clark sacrifice fly, so now the Rangers are back on top of this game by a score of 3-2. Let's get back to Jim and Buck at Skydome.
All right, Hannah, and the California Angels not only watching that game, but this one as well, as the Angels will play later on at home against Oakland. We're in the 7th, and the Jays leading 3-0, which pleases California. Tomas Perez at the plate with a count of 1-2. The Angels are a game back of the Yankees in the wild card race and 2 back of Seattle in the AL West Division race. Strikeout throwout as the ball got away from Larritz. This time, though, he gets the man at first, 1 man down. The Mariners could clinch the West tonight if they win and the Angels lose. And the Yankees bullpen, there's Mariano Rivera, the right-hander. He was up earlier. Alex Gonzalez coming to bat. That strikeout of Perez, incidentally, the 6th for Andy Pettit tonight. He has walked 3 batters. Gonzalez has struck out twice. He's 0 for 3 overall.
They've changed their pitching pattern to Gonzalez. First time they saw him in New York, they pitched him upstairs and hit a home run to right field. They've thrown a lot of curveballs to him tonight. They really put the collar on him.
And he hits the outside corner. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
This guy reminds me an awful lot of Ken Holtzman. Andy Pettit has that delivery that's very difficult for hitters to find the ball out of. He really tucks that shoulder in. It's difficult to really locate where the ball's coming from. Like Holtzman, he's got a wicked overhand curveball that you really can't pick up on. Holtzman spent 3 years with the Yankees, 76, 77, and 78.
And he gets him again. 3rd time he's gone down on strikes. And strikeout number 7 for Andy Pettit. Well, here we go down the stretch, and here are the remaining contenders. These 3 fighting for those final 2 playoff spots. Over the last 30 games, the Yankees have been the hottest team, 23-7. The Mariners right behind, and then the Angels just 22. But California has won its last 2 to remain in it. Buck Showalter just hoping that that surge can continue. Andy Pettit has calmed down since that 2-run rally in the 4th, but the bats have been held in check by Juan Guzman. And a tough play there for Kelly, but he fields cleanly and goes to first to get Molitor. And the Jays go 1-2-3. We're going to the 8th at Skydome. Toronto leads it 3-0. Well, here's the MCI proof positive replay. We go back to the 4th inning. Tomas Perez, the number 9 man at the plate with 2 men out, and a 2-run single to center field, which proves that you can get base hits from unlikely sources. Tomas Perez, the MCI proof positive replay of the game. And there he is playing at second base in place of the injured Roberto Alomar, and he has the big hit in this game for Toronto because that gave them a 2-run cushion. The Jays led it 1-0 at the time, and the 2-run single by Perez.
Here you see Tony Castillo coming on to take over for Juan Guzman. Guzman was outstanding. Castillo has been the closer for Cito Gaston in a year where he hasn't had what you would call a legitimate closer. Dwayne Ward hasn't pitched for this ball club for 2 years because of injuries. Last year's closer, Darren Hall, has been out most of the year with arm problems, and Tony Castillo has saved 13 games.
And he gets the call on the outside corner. Bernie didn't think so. And it's 0-1. Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, and then Ruben Sierra in the 8th. You see time running out for the Yankees. Bernie is 2 out of 3. And a high fly to center field. Huff going back. He's still going, turns the other way, and makes the catch. He misjudged that ball, Buck, but was able to recover, and he catches it just in front of the wall for the out.
Well, the roof's open here at Skydome, and the winds are swirling around. He didn't expect that ball to carry that far. He said, man, that really took off. Explaining it to Joe Carter. Bernie Williams got under this thing. Looked like a routine pop-up, but watch Mike Huff. Turns one way, then the other way, and makes the catch right on the warning track in the center. He did a good job of finding that ball once he over his left shoulder, then back over his right shoulder, but made the catch.
Paul O'Neill, first ball swinging and a foul. There you see the Dome open in Toronto tonight. At last check, it was 61 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a beautiful facility along Lake Ontario. And a hard ground ball fielded by Olerud. He'll take it himself, and O'Neill retired for the second out. And O'Neill back to the bench. He's 0 for 4. Watch out for the water coolers in the Yankee dugout. Here goes the helmet.
He's very intense. He hates making outs anytime. He got a pitch he thought he should do something with and hit it right to Olerud.
Actually, that's a calm reaction from Paul O'Neill. So Castillo retires the first 2 batters he faces, and here is Ruben Sierra, who also moves over to the right side. Sierra is 1 out of 3. And he takes a strike and did not look as if he was ready. plate. Ball on a strike.
He stands well off the plate, and then he kicks that front leg, and it actually takes him further away from the outside corner.
Oh, he had a pitch he liked there, and he pulls it back. 1-2. A vicious cut by Sierra.
One thing that Castillo does very effectively against right-handed hitters is get the ball in on their hands. He's not a real hard thrower, but got a real good cut fastball that'll jam a lot of right-handed hitters.
And he protected the outside corner there and got a piece. You see Castillo, Buck, working outside. Here goes Randy Knorr to talk to him, with Sierra far from the plate from the right side. So they're challenging Sierra to go the other way, which he has not done very often this year. He's somewhat of a stubborn hitter in that regard, and that he tries to pull everything. But if you try to go outside and get too much of the plate, then he can give it a ride.
Well, they're trying to work toward the inside part of the plate. That's where Tony Castillo makes his living.
And a high fly to left field. He got under it. Joe Carter coming in, and he'll make the catch, and the Yankees go quietly in the 8th. 3 up, 3 down. We're going to the bottom of the 8th. The Jays holding on to a 3-0 lead.
Coming up later on The Tonight Show. Think Martin Short's brand of sophisticated humor is easy?
Not really.
Plus, News Radio's Dave Foley and Disorder in the Court. So come on down.
And tonight, we're playing for Jay's brand new car.
And Conan's got Leah Thompson, NBC Tonight.
Welcome back to Toronto. A shot of Lake Ontario. Joe Carter leading off for the Jays in the 8th inning, and a line drive right at Deion James, who makes the catch to retire Joe. Buck Showalter very concerned. His team is down to its final 3 outs, and they trail it here 3-0 to the Jays.
Well, nobody ever suggested trying to get into the postseason was easy. And the Blue Jays, although they're in the basement in the American League East, they've got a lot of pride. They know what it's all about to play in the postseason. 2-time world champions. A lot of these guys on this team have a pair of World Series rings.
Olerud first ball swinging, and a bloop back of second. Here comes Bernie Williams, and he makes the catch. Nice play by Bernie to take a base hit away from Olerud. 2 men are out on 2 pitches.
Bernie Williams has a bead on it, but it kept drifting away from him. He felt Fernandez coming on, so he slid out of the way. Hey, this guy doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He's a very good defensive outfielder.
Ed Sprague will bat with 2 outs and nobody on. And swings at the first pitch, and Pettit's going to get out of the 8th on 3 pitches. Williams underneath it. He makes the catch, and there go the Jays. Mattingly will lead off for the Yankees as we go to the 9th. They need 3 to tie.
Up next now, the jury decides. Closing arguments are finally over.
And they both are telling you who did it with their hair, their clothes, their bodies, their blood. They tell you he did it.
We're live in Los Angeles with late word on deliberation.
Also a bombshell from Board of Ed. They defy Mayor Giuliani and pick their own new chancellor. We've got the late-breaking developments.
Plus, the beauty queen who went on a wild rampage gets put away.
And then we've got Glenn Walker in Toronto. He'll have post-game reaction from the Yanks coming up next.
Well, there is a very nervous Yankees owner, George Steinbrenner. Gord Ash, the Blue Jays GM, on the left. And Paul Beeston, the man with the cigar. The head of the Blue Jays on the right behind the glass. And there's Buck Showalter, another nervous guy. He says Yankees are 3 outs away from losing to the Jays here in Toronto. Don Mattingly takes a fastball for a ball. Larritz and Velarde to follow.
The thing to remember about this is the Yankees have beaten Toronto 9 straight times. They're 9-1 against Toronto on the season. So they still feel like they've got a chance to come back.
Mattingly is 0 for 3. And it's 3-0.
Jim, this is a big difference in this ball club the last couple of years is they don't have a Tom Henke anymore. They don't have a Dwayne Ward anymore. In the past, when the Blue Jays were on top of the world, they had a 3-run lead in the ninth, and you could forget coming back against them.
And Mattingly takes, and it's 3-1. And when Cito Gaston had those guys in the bullpen, you had to have a lead by the 7th inning, or it was next to impossible to beat these Jays. And there's a base hit Mattingly to lead off the ninth, and Perez over quickly to cut it off. So he'll hold Mattingly to a single. The Yankees have their leadoff man on in the ninth, but they trail it by 3. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers. Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn free with new Pepsid AC. And Texaco Clean System 3 gasolines. Here comes Jim Leyritz against Tony Castillo. The Yankees have Leyritz, a right-hander, up, Velarde, a right-hander, on deck, Fernandez, a switcher, and then Kelly, a right-hander. And the fastball is high. And there's Randy Knorr out to the mound.
Cito has most confidence in Tony Castillo, so very rarely will he take Castillo out of a situation like this. He will stick with him because he has been the most consistent in these situations.
The outfield is straight away, the infield back, except for Olerud, who holds the bag at first. And that pitch is high, and it's 2-0. So Tony Castillo, Buck, is helping out these Yankee batters. He got behind Mattingly. Mattingly looked for a pitch out over the plate. He got a base hit. Now he's behind Leyritz, 2-0. And there is the on-deck batter, Randy Velarde. And a strike as Leyritz took it all the way. Good pitch at the knees. Somebody has a good set of lungs. And a strike. He got the inside corner. Excellent pitch. And there's what you were talking about last inning. Castillo working inside.
Yeah, he's got just enough on the fastball to freeze those hitters when he comes inside. Leyritz wasn't really sure that was over the corner.
And he fouls it back, just protecting. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without express written consent from the Office of the Commissioner. The 2-2 to Leyritz inside, and the count goes full. Mattingly not very fast, even though it's a 3-2 count. I doubt that Buck Showalter would risk sending Mattingly in this situation.
No, I don't think he's going to run. Castillo really has to challenge Leyritz to put this ball in play.
And it's low, ball 4, and that brings the tying to the plate here in the ninth. Mattingly goes to second, Leyritz to first. Castillo has given up a base hit and a walk, and Cito Gaston can't believe it. Buck Showalter hoping for a ninth inning rally here. Here comes Galen Cisco, and Buck looking down his bench for a potential pinch hitter maybe this inning.
Well, Buck walked down the end of the bench and motioned for somebody to start thinking about hitting. Galen Cisco, the pitching coach for the Blue Jays, is out to the mound, trying to get Tony Castillo back on the right track.
The Blue Jays scored in the second on a ground ball RBI by Robert Perez, and then scored 2 in the fourth on a 2-run single by Tomas Perez, and that's been it. And there's George Steinbrenner. He has been fidgeting in that seat since that fourth inning.
Paul Beeston's got the needle out too. You can go, gee, George, you guys really need to win this one, huh?
And he's changing the channel there. Paul looks very relaxed tonight. No tie on. Mr. Steinbrenner in his Sunday best. Here's Randy Velarde, who has been a clutch hitter for New York this year. And it's low. Third consecutive batter he's fallen behind on the first pitch. Randy Velarde struck out in the second, walked in the fifth, flied out to left field in the seventh. And it's low and in, 2-0.
Castillo really having trouble with his control. Mike Timlin, a righty, should be close to being ready. Should Cito Gaston have to make a move here?
And if Timlin comes on, you'll likely see Mr. Strawberry for Fernandez. And a strike. Velarde that pitch.
Wade Boggs with that bad hamstring is available to pinch hit.
Well, that's a good point. I guess it would depend on the situation if Buck wanted the long ball or a base hit. And a ground ball to short. This could be two. No, he boots it. It goes into short center field. Rounding third, heading for the plate is Mattingly. And going to third is Leyritz. And a big break for the Yankees as they get on the board. It's a 3-1 game. Nobody out, and the tying runs are on. As Gonzalez had a double play ball, and it looked like he went to flip it before he caught it.
Well, that's the inexperience again. Cito Gaston has seen it all year long. That was a routine double play ball. He had one earlier that he just turned into one out. He gets ahead of himself here. He started to think about going to second base, and that ball just eats him up. Hit him on the heel of the glove and goes into shallow center field. Mattingly scored. Buck Showalter still walking around on the floor of that dugout. And now the Blue Jays are going to have to contend with a pinch hitter coming up here as Gonzalez is frustrated. That's Mike Stanley swinging a bat right in front of Buck Showalter.
So Stanley is introduced as the pinch hitter for Tony Fernandez. And we'll see what Cito Gaston does now. And well, the emotions starting to turn in the owner's box. The Yankees owner, George Steinbrenner, on the right. The head of the Blue Jays, Paul Beeston. He's out of the race. His feet are up. Sitting back in his easy chair. And there's Cito Gaston. Well, he's going to stick with Castillo. Buck Showalter sending up Mike Stanley. The tying runs are on with nobody out. One run is in. And a line drive to right field. Perez is over. He makes the catch. Tagging is Leyritz. Here comes the throw. It's cut by Olerud. And Leyritz with a head slide. The Yanks within a run. Leyritz had come off the base, but he got back quickly enough and then took off to the plate. So that goes as a sac fly and an RBI. That's the first out of the inning. And the Yankees now within a run. It's 3-2. The runner Velarde is at first.
Watch Leyritz at third. His first move is toward the plate, but then he regroups quickly and retreats. Tags at third base. Perez's throw is right to the cutoff man, Olerud, who cuts it. Didn't have a shot at Leyritz at home. That ball was just too deep. But the Yankees have clawed their way back into this game here in the ninth.
George Steinbrenner looking down to the Yankee dugout. Pat Kelly had gone back in the dugout, and now he's coming back out. So with the left-hander still on there, this keeps Darryl Strawberry and Wade Boggs on the bench.
That's exactly why Cito Gaston continues to stick with Castillo.
One man out, Velarde at first. And Pat Kelly at the plate. And a line drive foul. The Yankees, after being held scoreless for 8 innings, aided by an error by Alex Gonzalez, his 19th error of the year, and Buck Showalter within a run. And now with one man out. And a strike. So Castillo gets ahead of Kelly. The first batter he's been ahead of this inning. And it's 0-2. Gerald Williams has come out on deck to hit Deion James.
Eddie Sprague protecting the line, not wanting to give up that extra base hit down in the corner.
Way outside. Castillo tried to get Kelly to chase. The Yankees team is very patient at the plate. Tony Castillo trying to work out of it. And a foul back.
Kelly did a good job of fighting that ball off. He really waited a long time before he offered it the pitch, and it was that cut fastball right on his hands. Buck Showalter going through his signs for Willie Randolph, who will pass them on to the batter and the runner.
Randy Velarde is the runner at first. Woodward holds the bag there. And Castillo goes that way. Not much of a move there by Castillo.
The Yankees haven't had a ninth inning comeback all year long. They're 0-55 when trailing after the 8th inning. Perfect time for their first one, wouldn't it be?
Especially with the Angels getting set to go in about 20 minutes. California, I'm sure, keeping very close watch of this game. The Angels began the day a game back of New York in that wild card chase with 3 to play. Outside, Kelly lays off. It's 2-2. Gerald Williams is on deck. He'll bat for Deion James. There's the owner. Well, Mr. Beeston now standing up. He's concerned. And a high fly to left field. This one is deep. Going back is Carter. He's at the wall. It's gone. 2-run homer for Pat Kelly, and the Yankees have taken a 4-3 lead. And what a turnaround here in Toronto. The number 9 batter with just his 4th home run of the year. Look at the Yankee bullpen. And what a time for their first 9th inning rally of the year. And Buck Showalter forced to stay with Kelly because Castillo was in the game. And George Steinbrenner nearly having a heart attack in the owner's box.
He can't believe it. With all the power he's got on his team, it's Pat Kelly who may have hit the biggest home run of the year. A 2-run shot in the 9th inning to put the Yankees ahead.
And there's a line drive just foul by Gerald Williams, who is pinch hitting for Deion James.
Watch the reaction of Pat Kelly. He thought he missed it. He couldn't believe it's carrying. He tossed his bat aside. He thought he got under it, but the ball carried and went over the wall for a 2-run shot.
Gerald Williams fouls it back, and he's behind 0-2. So the error by Alex Gonzalez, which could have turned 2, the big play in this inning. The Yankees take advantage. Check swing. Did he go too far? No, says Chuck Merriweather at first. 1-2 on Gerald Williams. So how about this, Buck? You have the 2 number 9 batters in this game with the big hits. Tomas Perez, a 2-run single for the Jays, and Pat Kelly, a 2-run homer for the Yankees. And the fastball is high, and it's 2-2.
Let's don't forget about Andy Pettitte, who did a great job battling away after he'd fallen behind 3-0. And he kept putting up zeros on the board after the 4th inning, and now he's in position to win his 12th game of the year.
John Wetland is beginning to loosen in the Yankee bullpen. High pop, shallow right. Coming on is Robert Perez, pulling off Tomas Perez, and he makes the catch for the 2nd out. Williams was all the way down to second base. There's Wetland, the Yankee closer, who has had a brilliant month of September.
30 saves for the big right-hander. 7 in September.
Sounds like he's got that heater working.
Sounds good.
So there's Buck Showalter, who's stuck with the right-handed batters because Cito Gaston stuck with the left-hander Castillo. A base hit, a walk, the big error, then a sac fly, and the 2-run homer by Kelly, and it's 4-3 New York. And that pitch to Bernie Williams is high. And Buck, you said it a short time ago, the advantage of playing first. The Blue Jays trying to beat the Yankees. The Angels out in California, they'll get going in about 15 minutes. When this inning began, the Angels were 3 outs away from a chance of tying, and now the Yankees are 3 outs away with a victory. And Bernie Williams hits a line drive to right field, fielded by Perez, and the inning is finally over. We're going to the bottom of the ninth. The Jays trail by a run.
Saturday on JAG. A high-tech terrorist holds innocent lives hostage.
Collision alarm!
JAG, all new NBC Saturday.
It's NBC Premiere Saturday. John Larroquette's getting married, and look who's giving him advice.
This is Dr. Fraser Crane. I'm listening.
He's a brilliant psychiatrist.
That's an oxymoron.
He says you're a Nazi moron.
Then the series premiere of The Home Court about a judge who's got her hands into everything.
Always wanted to do that.
NBC Saturday.
Mike Stanley behind the plate defensively now. He got a pinch hit sac fly in the 9th inning. Randy Velarde moves from third to shortstop. Gerald Williams takes over defensively in left field as he pinch hit for Deion James, and Russ Davis comes on to play third base defensively here in the 9th inning.
And there's Pat Kelly at second base. His 4th home run of the year, and without question his biggest, the 2-run shot that has given the Yankees a 4-3 lead in the 9th. And the closer is on to try and nail it down. There's John Wetteland, the big right-hander who has 6 saves in his last 6 appearances. And the first batter to face is Sean Green, pinch hitting for Mike Cup.
There you see John Wetteland's numbers. 1-5, the ERA just a 3. He's got 30 saves, looking for 31. Now Gene Monahan, the trainer for New York, coming out of the dugout to check on Mike Stanley. He really got ripped with that foul tip. Caught him on the chin, knocked his mask off. Let me tell you, ear, I can relate to that. Been hit there many times. What happens is you get hit in the chin, and it forces your jaw back into your joint, into your ear. And I'm telling you, you get your jaw cracked. They have a third catcher, Jorge Posada.
Carlos Delgado has come out on deck to pinch hit for Robert Perez as Cito looking for a long ball. And a foul back, and Green is behind 0-2. The Blue Jays trail by a run in the bottom of the 9th. There's the man who has been on fire down the stretch, 6 out of 6. And look at the strikeouts, 64 and 60 in the 3rd innings for Wetteland. Green at the plate has 15 home runs on the year. And a pop foul that's coming back and will make the crowd as Stanley gives chase, but he's out of room down the 3rd base line. Sean Green flipping the mask to him. You know, Buck, there's been a lot of debate over the last month about the value of this wild card in baseball. I'll tell you, there's a lot of excitement around here tonight. Well, if not for that system, this game would mean nothing in terms of any postseason possibilities, and Yankees with a chance to get into the postseason with a dramatic game here tonight.
Yeah, I think the wild card is going to be just fine. There's some wrinkles that have to be ironed out, but for the first time around, I think everybody is seeing that it brings a lot of teams into contention.
And pop foul again. That's back in the crowd.
The Mariners and the Angels played a great game on Wednesday when California had to win that ball game, losing the first of a 2-game series. Buck Showalter now a little more comfortable with a 1-run lead here, thinking about possibly the possibility of going 2 up on California.
And he got him. Blew a fastball by him on 1-2, and Green down, 1 man out. Buck Showalter told us before the game, all we want is a chance. If we get into the postseason, we feel like we can do some good things. And you see that high heater that Green couldn't lay off. Wetteland gets the first out in the 9th. And here's Delgado. He'll pinch hit for Perez. And that's the beauty of that wild card, is it allows you to overcome a bad start. It gives you another option of getting into the postseason. Fastball is low, 1-0.
Delgado has the Blue Jays' only pinch hit home run of the year. It came way back in May.
And a strike. He hit the inside corner. Nice pitch. You don't want to make a mistake on Delgado with a fastball.
Well, you can throw the fastball in on his hands, but you got to get it up. He's got good power to all fields when it's down. Good curveball, misses.
And a good idea. That's the pitch that got Delgado in trouble after his fast start last year. He had the red-hot April and seeing those types of pitches down and in. Swings through a fastball there. It's 2-2.
Boy, he got a pitch that he could handle, but Wetland just blew it by him. He went right to his strength, and he overmatched Delgado with that fastball.
You know, and the other thing, Buck, now Buck Showalter does not have to go to Jack McDowell tomorrow. The high pop to shallow center field. Bernie Williams coming in. He takes charge and makes the catch, and 2 men are out. As you were saying, he told you before the game, if the Yankees lost tonight and went into tomorrow tied with the Angels, he would pitch McDowell. But if they won tonight, he wouldn't have to go that way, and likely Scott Kamieniecki would make the start. Now, between now and tomorrow, he could change his mind, but before the game, that was what his game plan was for tomorrow.
I think he'd really like to be able to sit McDowell down and give him a little more rest to get that back a little more time to heal.
And looking ahead to Sunday, they would like to have Sterling Hitchcock pitch on Sunday and save David Cone for Game 1 on Tuesday, if everything fell into place. And see, now, earlier on, Mr. Beeston was doing all the talking. Now George is telling him what it's all about.
Neither one of them look too relaxed right now, though.
Well, here's Sandy Martinez pinch hitting for Randy Knorr, another left-handed bat, and he takes a strike. Swing and a miss at a good fastball.
If you're thinking about the postseason, you've got to have one of these guys, a dominant closer. Every World Series championship ball club has had a dominant closer.
And the ball game is over. He blew 3 by Sandy Martinez. And look at that happy group of Yankees. John Wetland getting congratulations, and there's George Steinbrenner. Had it all the way. Oh boy, I'll tell you, we had it all the way.
Pat Kelly, a big home run, 2-run homer difference in this ball game.
Buck Showalter looking it over. Our final score from Skydome, the Yankees with 4 in the 9th. Come from behind for the first time in the 9th to beat the Jays 4-3. Back at Skydome, where the Yankees have rallied 4 in the 9th to defeat the Blue Jays 4-3. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tom Roy. Coordinating producer of the Baseball Network, John J. Filippelli. Coordinating producer for NBC Sports, John Gonzalez. And Vice President of Operations for the Baseball Network is Ed Delaney. Tonight's Chevrolet Player of the Game is Pat Kelly. In conjunction with this program, Chevrolet will contribute a total of $50,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America in the names of all the players of the game for the 1995 Major League Baseball season. Kelly with that 2-run home run in the top of the 9th to give the Yankees the 4-3 win. Our final score from the Dome: Yankees 4, Blue Jays 3. For Buck Martinez, Jim Hunter saying so long from Skydome.
This telecast has been produced by the Baseball Network in association with NBC Sports.
Want a chance to take your family to Super Bowl 30?
Look at your cliche bursting forth. What an ending to this game tonight, to the Yankees game. What a finish.
Top of the 9th inning was very special. Yes, it was for Yankee fans. Maybe not as dramatic as Bucky Dent, but nearly as startling. Pat Kelly, of all people, and the Yanks with 4 in the 9th to beat the Blue Jays. At the moment, their wild card lead is a full game and a half. But who is Tomas Perez for the Blue Jays? The Toronto rookie with a 2-run single in the 4th off Andy Pettitte. The Blue Jays took a 3-0 lead. Perez with a big 8 runs batted in all year, and a quarter of them on this play. 9th inning, the Yankees finally score a big break. Alex Gonzalez at short boots the double play ball. Don Mattingly scores. The Yankees are alive. Now 3-2-1 out. Pat Kelly plays the role of Bucky Dent from the '78 playoff game in Fenway. A shocking two-run homer off Tony Castillo. The Yanks with 4 in the ninth take a 4-3 lead, and John Wetland, who's been unhittable, wrapped it up 1-2-3. The Yanks' magic number to reach the playoffs is reduced to 2. Our Glenn Walker in Toronto has the post-game reaction.
Pat, I bet a lot of people would be surprised that he would, I know press box were shaking their head that he'd send up a 234 hitter and not send up a pinch hitter. Were you a little surprised yourself?
Well, I hit lefties pretty well, and I've had some success off them at a couple hits here and there. So, you know, I felt confident there, but, you know, sometimes you got to go with the percentages. And fortunately, it worked out to our advantage tonight.
It was a good at-bat for you. You fouled off quite a few before you finally hit it out. When you finally hit it, how long did you know before you knew it was out of there?
Well, I know I hit it well, but I didn't know how far because it was kind of high. So, you know, I just battled, and it was fortunate, and it was a good win for us. We got to get 2 more. So,
first time this season you guys have come back in the 9th inning. You starting to feel like a team of destiny, maybe?
Hopefully. We're playing well, and you know, a good comeback tonight. And like I said, we got 2 more games to go, and you know, right now we have to win those 2 to get into playoffs.
And now they could wrap it up, perhaps as early as tomorrow. Elsewhere in the races today, another wild one in Chicago. Another Cubs comeback. It's Luis Gonzalez with the game-winning hit in the 10th inning. And look at this Cubs celebration as they keep their very slim playoff hopes alive. And the Mets tonight, finishing up their series with the Braves at Shea to finish up the season. They batted around in the first inning off Tom Glavine. Rico Brogna again. 2-run single in the first. The Mets scored 5 runs. Had another run added in the third. The Mets beating the Braves 6-3. Bobby Jones winning his 10th. So, quick look at the scores and games that mean something. They've gone to the bottom of the 9th inning now. If that Seattle lead holds up, it would clinch a tie for the West. California has just taken a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning in Oakland. They must keep pace with the Yanks. National, Cubs 3 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th to beat Houston. San Francisco leads Colorado. They've gone to the 4th inning. And the Los Angeles-San Diego game is scoreless as they're underway. The Tigers have a Monday news conference. Reports say Sparky Anderson will leave the organization. Here we go again. The NBA will lock out its referees starting Sunday. The Devils have won their arbitration case with suspended star Claude Lemieux. Exhibition hockey, the Rangers playing Pittsburgh in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's Mario Lemieux in the white for Pittsburgh, and his 5th goal in just his 4th exhibition game. Pittsburgh took a 2-1 lead, now 2-2. 7 minutes left in the game. Jeff Bukaboom shoots it, wins the game for the Rangers. The Rangers winning their 2nd in 7 games. You know, they say there are no heroes anymore other than Pat Kelly. How about Butterbean? He now goes by just the singular name of Butterbean, a finely tuned boxing machine weighing in at 306 pounds. He did get his mouthpiece in the 4th round and had to go back to the corner, but just a 4-round fight. It's easy to forget the little things. The fight with Kenny Myers went the distance. It went to the scorecards. The fine-looking Butterbean goes to 12-0 with a majority decision. And now the fight's over. He can get off his training diet and start eating some real food. How about those Yankees?
Wow.
Have a great weekend.
Exciting.
Yeah, it was.
All
That's
right.
sports.
Thank you.
Now we've got